We spent Monday night in North and South America on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, and 48 hours later, we're focused on North and Central America for a Wednesday night doubleheader of single race action. Yes, after a week and a half of predominantly sprint racing, we're back to single race mode tonight for the latest round of the GSRC TransAm series, of course, brought to you by merch.GSRC.in.com. And then, of course, we're getting stuck into the Trophi.AI Supercar series from the Autódromo Hermanos Rodríguez in Mexico, the newest venue on Reserva. Good evening, everybody. Zach Coburn alongside Matt Schmidtke. Welcome to night 3 of Term 4's 7th week. And firmly now we can say our sights are set on the checkered flag and the end of the season. You may be wondering why I'm here. Well, I'm deputising for Dan Yeoman for the second and final time this term. He's, of course, got real-world commitments getting into the way of what we've referred to as our regular gig, our escape from reality, our lifestyle, our recreational hobby. But he'll be back on deck for you next week. And it's a nice night to be in the booth because we love the circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal calendar. We love the Autódromo Hermanos Rodríguez as well. And it's nice to team up with my old colleague from Thursday Night Motorsport, Matt Schmidtke, as well. There's the lay of the land. 27 degrees the ambient, the on-track temperature, 23 the ambient, 19 km/h winds in a mostly south to southeasterly direction. 2:30 in the afternoon, a local server time. We've gone back about a month in time, actually, there, October 11, 2025, so back to when Montreal, Canada was observing daylight saving still. Isn't that a lovely thought, an idea? Hello, Queensland. What else do we want to tell you about? 41% humidity and partly cloudy conditions, 4.31 kilometres this circuit. You know it, you love it as the home of the Canadian Formula One Grand Prix tonight, a vitally important 7th round of GSRC TransAm. And the series at the moment is being led by the man that's, the man that sits on second spot on the grid here by only 10 points. The man that sits first is second in the point standings at the moment. It's Darren Lobb playing Andrew Dyson, 243, plays 233, Jackson Rayhana, 213, Angus Cook, 209, and Adam Lavis, 204. The grid for tonight: Dyson back to where he usually likes to reside, top of the timesheets and on pole position. He'll bring the field to green. Alongside him is the South African Darren Lobb. Dylan Walker, Chris Hen from the second row, Adam Funslow and Trent Lavis the third row, Joe Baldwin, Brett Barker, then Brenton Morris and Guy Leach make up the first 5 rows on the grid. 6th row, Wade Sheedy and Richard Brookfield. 7th row, Reg Burke, Dale Sharp. 8th row, Sam Lehman and Tom Pritchard. 9th row, Peter Vanderberg. The second of the South African entries. We've got a real Rugby Tri-Nations feel about this grid tonight, don't we? I'm just having a look down through the field here to see if we've only got if we've got any New Zealand sort of presence. No, not tonight, which is rare, to be fair. 10th row, Damien Seeger and Moz Moroz. 11th row. If we can flick over, please, Matty. There we go. Martin Lipsky, John Baldwin and Craig Bond making up the field. Wayne Taylor hasn't taken to the grid. That's important to note. Bondy will be looking to continue with the run that we saw him on Monday night, in which he did the double in GT3 Pro-Am as well. Good evening, Matt Schmidtke. Vitally important night this, because once, racing from race controls from NZ, that's more than enough. Liam Haycock, good evening to you. Thank you. I like it. Matt Schmidtke, good evening to you. Cars making their way down the Casino Straight on their way to greet the starter. Vitally important 7th round. We've got a real 3-horse race here as part of this championship fight. Unfortunately, Jackson Rayhana not on the grid tonight. That'll be the second drop round for him. He can't afford to miss a step on the way home, though, in the final 3 rounds of the season, because at the end of tonight, we get a clear picture as to who's against who in the final 3 weeks of the season. Drop rounds come into play.
Yep, we certainly do. Like you said, drop rounds. There'll be some people that'll benefit from it, some people that might drop down a bit in the order. We'll have to wait and see how it shakes up.
We are set for a start, and this will be a 45-minute race for you on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club to get a big night of high-level horsepower underway. It's the TransAms into the Supercars, and we're racing in Canada. Good conversion off the line, and not really a surprise from Andrew Dyson, who leads the field to turn 1. Status quo through we go. Trent Lavis, good to see him back out there. He's made inroads early up to 5th. Brett Barker, a good start, up 2 spots. Joe Baldwin getting muscled out. He drops 1. Guy Leach and Richard Brookfield making up the top 10 at the moment. We're all safely away in Canada. Good field too, 22 of them. Wayne Taylor joining from the back of the field now out onto the racetrack. Not necessarily sure that's a good tactical move to start from pit lane at this circuit. I mean, yes, I get starting from pit lane to avoid the trouble at turn 1 and 2, but when you've given the entire field a sector head start, they've all gone through the first sector and he's only just left pit lane. It makes a rod for his own back for the rest of the night. It will be interesting to see, because we're expecting a splash and dash. We're expecting a pit stop somewhere along the way here. I dare say he's just given himself an invoice for the rest of the night, has Wayne Taylor. Was due to start 18th on the grid and is 24 seconds down on the leader and 13 seconds down on Martin Lipsky, the next up the road at the moment. To the hairpin for the first time. Dyson leads from Lob. It's been a battle between these two all season. That continued last week. Dyson winning the round, 3rd and 1st. 3 round wins on the trot now for Dyson, looking to make it 4 tonight and put himself firmly in the mix. Hello, Ryan Barber. Okay. He's applied for the league and hasn't been accepted yet. He will be. It's obviously a case of Adam Lavis just trying to trawl through the paperwork to approve all of that. He does all the dotting of the I's and the crossing of the T's. I'm sure he'll be with you in due course, mate. Stand by. We'll look forward to seeing you on the grid in the next short while. Always good to have more members joining the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Massive night tonight. And we back it up again tomorrow night with another full night of Tin Top Racing GT4. And then, of course, the Porsches in an Enduro from Mount Panorama Bathurst. So a lot to look forward to there. Dyson accelerating away. A very commanding start from him, you've got to say, Matt Schmidtke.
Yep, he's certainly taking it, but Darren Lobb, he is staying in touch. We'll have to see if it looks more like these two are going to break away a bit, but we'll see if Darren can stay in touch with Dyson. It's going to be an interesting one. Yeah.
Just having a look at the 2 drop rounds here as well. At this stage, the way things stand, if we're basing it on the first 6 rounds, the 2 that go for Lobb are the first 2, and for Dyson are 2 and 3. Lobb in the first 2 rounds scored 25 and 30 points respectively, and that was 14th, 15th and 7th in the race results. Dyson was non-classified in an 8th in round 2 and didn't even start round 3. So as far as drop rounds are concerned, Lobby's currently dropping 55 and Dyso's currently dropping 15, which is a 40-point swing in favour of Dyson, who only trails by 10. So at this stage, he's up by 30. So it's a bad sign for Darren Lobb and the rest of the competition, the form that Andrew Dyson's in at the moment. He is on track, ladies and gentlemen, to win 3 championships this term. Obviously, he's dominating the entree slots on a Monday night, on a Wednesday night and a Thursday night, and Darren Lobb's got to slow down to observe, and that's not going to help him in the slightest. Trent Lavis has got himself up in a 3rd spot, but look at the distance already between 1st and 3rd. It is 4 seconds between Dyson and Lavis and 3.5 between Lobb and Lavis at this point in time as we make our way to the right-hander. That's Trent Lavis in 3rd, making his way through. And he loves this form of racing. Of course, back in the original first season. Now that's the slowdown from Lobb. That's the damage that's been done. Now, how big of a slowdown was it, or has Lobb made another mistake? That's what I'm interested to learn here, because he's all of a sudden fallen back into the clutches of Lavis. And Dyson is 4.5 seconds to the good on the 3rd lap in Canada. He may as well just cash the check now. I know it's a 45-minute race, but Dyson, when he's in clear air, barely puts a foot wrong. He probably still doesn't want to talk about the second of the sprint races in the Toyotas at Motorsport the other night, but he doesn't put a foot wrong when he's at the front of the field. Extraordinary. And to finish the point on Trent Lavis, Matt Schmidtke, he was one of the originals of the club back in early 2020, autumn 2020, April, I think, when we started things up. With Chris Whitaker and Nick Fodiatis, one of the originals, right? That we all still see those guys appearing on track sporadically when they're able to. But Friday night stock car racing, be it the Trans Am, the NASCAR, whatever, was our bread and butter. So Lavis will be taking to this like a duck to water, and he's already giving Darren Lobb a bit of a hurry up.
Yep, he certainly is. Yep, Trent, he's always good in these kind of cars on a road course. You see him in the trucks or other things we've done, he always turns it on when you give him a car that's supposed to only turn left and you put some right-hand corners in.
Indeed. Whew. Big night ahead here. Championship implications are plenty to take into consideration for Dyson. He's already got the bonus point tonight on Darren Lobb. That gives him the bonus for pole position. I think they're going to muster up a clean race as well. The only thing he won't claim is the bonus points for the most positions gained, because it's impossible when you're starting first and finishing first. The only way is down in that instance. Speaking of big movers, Craig Bond up 6 spots already from 17th on the grid. Everybody else, the next biggest mover, well, there's a swag of them on. Moz Moroz has 4. Actually, now he has 3 because Bondi's made it +7. And Trent Lavis, Brett Barker, Guy Leach also 3 positions gained. So 4 of them in a tie for second most positions gained so far tonight. There's the 69, chasing down the 899 down the Casino Straight. And on the current pace there, Matt Schmidtke, 1 minute 42 per lap time. They're not getting to the 1 minute 40s, which makes it really awkward for me with the mathematics of it. If we were to go 1 minute 40, and again, this will be one of those equations that teeters on the brink of the seesaw. But 1 minute 40 would make 3 and 5 laps, which makes 3 times 9 is 27. And 9 times 5 is 45. So 45 minutes, 27. It'll be 26, 27 laps. Remember that they've got that buffer to play with the overtime, but they've also got the pit lane transit to take into consideration as well. So if you're a gambling man, you'd be confident with 26, but don't be surprised if we get a 27.
Yep, it'll be interesting to see. And if I remember last time he did the 45-minute race at Sonoma, Dyson managed a 1-stop, or a lot of other people did the 2-stop. So it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out here.
Yeah, and that could make all the difference as well, mate. If Dyson can do it on 1 stop, that may just see us get that extra lap in, and you wouldn't want to trip up on that and be coughing and spluttering on the way to the line. So if Dyson can do the fuel save, all power to him. I mean, if I have a look and remind myself, because it's been a while since I've been in the chair for a Trans Am 45-minute race, they aren't bound by the usual obligations of Toyota 86, GT3, V8 Supercars, GT4, or Porsche Cup, whereby you must complete a compulsory pit stop through the race. Dalshup's had an off-track moment, run it off the road, got back on. But drops a position now to Craig Bond. We'll have to slow down here, I would imagine. Oh, well, we got some help. He got some help, Sharpie. Now, was that Reg Burke that he got some help from?
I believe so, yes. Yeah, 131, yes.
Yep, and obviously Bondi's gone through. Burke has redressed that. Moroz is the next one that they've got to deal with. So when you look at all that, they're not bound by the usual pit stop obligations, right? So there's nothing saying that Dyson can't do this on a 1-stop, and everybody else, if they have to do it on 2, then, that's to their own detriment. It says a lot about... See, this is the thing, right? And this is why Chapo was so anti going to that compulsory pit stop form of racing that we've now got. This puts a lot of the onus back on the drivers with regards to how they go about executing their racecraft and therefore their strategy as well. And a 5-second penalty for Reg Burke, no surprise there for that contact with Dale Sharp, even though he redressed it.
Yeah, it certainly does. What I would actually like to see, I might mention this to the other committee boys, is you have it set up so there's 1 compulsory pit stop, but then it's still set up to where it's iffy if you got to do 1 or 2 stops. Just set it up so you can either just go flat out for the race and do your 2 stops, or try and conserve and pull it off with 1 stop. I guess a lot of people will probably just do that, but it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
I'd be all for it. Anything to spice and liven it up. Although that being said, we don't normally need help with that. The racing this season has been awesome, and will continue to be so throughout the final 3 rounds of the season, throughout this week, next week, and of course grand final week. Now make note of grand final week too, folks, because there'll be some earlier starts and some late finishes attached to that one, due to the fact that most of the classes are going to do slightly longer races that week. So we'll advise through our socials with the respective broadcast banners exactly what's going on with regards to amended start times and everything else. I know GT4 is a 60-minute race, which means the broadcast is going to start about 15 minutes earlier. The Toyotas are going to a 45-minute race, so the broadcast is going to start 7:30, not 7:45, etc., etc. It has a knock-on effect in order to also, of course, still enable us to get away at a reasonable hour of the night on the eastern seaboard at least. We'll still probably be here yakking away at midnight, reviewing and recapping and debriefing, but that's for us to worry about. As long as we can get you off to bed by about 11:30, we're usually happy campers. The interesting thing about that will be obviously the GT3 race will go back to a 9 o'clock start as well. I think you'll find that week, because it is 90 minutes instead of the usual 60. So a lot of chopping and changing that week on the platforms of the GSRC, but we're looking forward to it immensely. Down the casino straight once more. This is lap 7. Dyson, Lobb, Lavis, Walker and Barker the top 5. Funslow, Leach, Hen, Ren, Baldwin, Brookfield, Sheedy, Morris and Bond, the top 13. Bondy the biggest mover so far, but again, that could well be to his demise as well, Matt Schmidtke, because we've seen it in the IndyCars, haven't we? He doesn't mind going like a scalded cat, going like the ball at the gate and just burning the tank dry. But that could come back to bite him, because it could be the difference between 1 stop and 2. Michael Brennan just giving us some intel as to why Jackson Rayhana isn't on the grid tonight as well. There's Bondy. Going along all right. Lapping in the 1 minute 43.9s at the moment. A second off Dyson, but most people are a fair chunk of time away from him. I mean, Darren Lobb, the closest, and he's even 2 tenths down on Dyson's PB, but was slightly faster than him last time around. The margin is still 4.39. The damage is really done as far as that battle's concerned. Brent Lavis, Walker, Barker. Barker's got Funslow, Leach and Hen for company. Baldwin holding on to 9th, and Brookfield is 10th. Sheedy 11th. Morris, Bond, Pritchard and Burke the top 15. Dalshup back on pit road. Damien Seeger on pit road now as well. Moz Moroz has already been there. Wayne Taylor, of course, started there. We're circulating lap 8 of what we suspect will be 26 or 27 here at the circuit. Gilles Villeneuve, and there you have it. Mondi sustained some damage, and that's unlucky for him. That certainly guarantees an incoming pit stop for the boy from Gun to Guy. Uh-oh, all on his own. It looked gentle. It looked really gentle.
Yeah, it looks like the back. Oh, that was close. I think they got away with it though.
There was a car that was trying to go past him on the inside. Yeah, when most of the other cars were going through on the outside, one's chopped in on the inside, and unfortunately that brings his charge undone. He's still up +4, but he's lost 6 spots as a result of that incident. And there's a slowdown to be cleared by Trent Lavis as well. He's 1.8 seconds clear of Dylan Walker. Dyson the leader, and 4.3 the margin. That's holding steady into the 15th minute of play. Almost 1/3 race distance, again on target for that 27 or so laps that I was talking about, based on the fact that Andrew Dyson is halfway through this 9th lap. So at this point in time, I'm starting to look at it and thinking, yep, 26 is probably the more likely option, especially if they've got to make a second pit stop. Although that being said, it is not the world's longest pit lane, and you actually cut some of the racetrack to rejoin. Well, to enter pit lane, you missed the final 2 chicanes, the final 2 corners there, the Wall of Champions, etc. So you actually gain a little bit there. And then at the end, you don't rejoin on the run down to turn 1, you rejoin over at the exit of turn 2.
Yeah, you cut off quite a bit of track on this one, and it's not the fastest bit of track you cut off either, so definitely gain a bit of time.
I hope you're enjoying it as much as we're enjoying bringing it to you, folks. It is Wednesday Night Motorsport across Facebook and YouTube, the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Matt Schmidtke, Zach Caban with you. I'm here because Dan Yeaman couldn't be. Matt Yeaman will be back with you next Wednesday night. Schmidtke had been enjoying the rest that his ears had been getting. The fact that he wasn't working with me this term, and he's been stuck with me twice in 3 weeks. Across the line we go. Barker in 5th spot. 6th is Funslow, then Leach, Hen and Baldwin. In fact, I was saying about Schmidtke off air, and I don't mind sharing this with the audience at home. Very happy that it ended up being week 7 and not week 8 that I had to deputise for Mr. Yeaman, because next Wednesday night, the home and away season finale airs on the 7 networks. So now that I'm all caught up on what's going on in Summer Bay, I look forward to sitting there with dinner and watching that full 90 minutes. It's followed by the 7 networks front bar cricket special. So it's a good night to be on the couch next week. The only downfall is because I live in Queensland, I've got to wait until 8 o'clock for home and away and 9:30 for the front bar, but that's okay. It's only a couple of more weeks of suffering through this 112-year delay that we live on, and then I can go and enjoy my 6 weeks of summer in progressive civilization. Brett Barker. This is the sort of battle pack that can be fraught with danger, Schmidtke, because if 1 gets by, 2 get by, 3 get by. If you make a mistake, you lose contact.
Yep, definitely. You make a small mistake, which is possible there. You just run a bit wide through that turn 1 area, and then, like I said, 1 goes through, 2 goes through, and then you're stuck at the back or even off the back of them, and these cars don't have much draft. So into the World of Champion chicane down here is the best spot to pass, but with no draft it might make it pretty difficult, which is probably what we're seeing here. Not a lot of passing going on. Oh, here we go, in the pits.
There we go, pit lane. In fact, everybody's in. Here we go. So that does away with the theory. I'm now starting to think that Daiso can't make it on 1 stop. He's in on lap 10, as is everybody else. Right, so this is the critical lap, and everybody's dived for the lane. So if we're looking at this tactically, 10 laps is the threshold. So if we're banking on 26 laps, we're saying that the shortest this can be is 6 laps, right? The critical lap is going to be lap 16. Potentially lap 17 if you want to be certain. If you want to be absolutely sure that we're not going to get an extra lap in, that 27th lap, then maybe go 7 laps to give yourself 10 for the run home. But somewhere between lap 16 and 20 will be that next pit window. Everybody in on lap 10, with the exception of Moz Moroz and Damien Seeger, who of course ran into trouble earlier in the piece. And Sharpie out of the race, unfortunately. Dale's done for the night. He has retired after lap 7. So we're down to 22. Bondi, the last of those showing on screen at the moment after... Oh, no. Can we have a look at Bondi's pit lane entry, please, Matt Schmidtke? The boy from Gundy Guy is stuck off pit lane. That's a stop and hold if ever I've seen one. 45 seconds he's been stationary. Let's have a look at this on replay. My goodness. Dear, oh dear.
Not quite there.
Not quite, but you're getting there. You've done well so far, son. Okay, let's have a look at this down on the pit road. Oh, yeah, that'll be why. That will be why.
He must have just...
I reckon he's just missed. He's not on the white line, on the left side of the right line. Sorry, the left side of the white line. Fair dinkum. Can't talk to save himself. Yeah, he's missed the merge
line there, yeah.
That's an unsafe entry in the eyes of iRacing. Now, really, as far as I'm concerned, that's absolute BS. But that's the iRacing rule book, and Bondi's done for the night. Wowee. Unlucky. But at least he sorted out his Blinky Bill issues from last week.
Yeah, that's good. He's been having trouble with that for a while now, but it's good to see he's got it sorted.
Thank goodness. I think everybody breathing a sigh of relief with that. Not least Bondi himself. He's embracing the nickname he's been given as a result of the recent events. But yes, he'll be very happy to at least have the internet sorted. Now he's just got to sort out a couple of other little teething issues, like knowing where the markers are with regards to the pit lane, to avoid further trip-ups. Dyson's lead has been trimmed, so that was interesting. Darren Lobb went for 9.77 seconds stationary on pit road. Andrew Dyson went for 11.82. The margin down to 3.32. Now, the quid pro quo of that is that we suspect that Dyson's probably got a full tank. We suspect that Lobb's probably just got a little bit shorter to try and undercut him, but he's still going to have to fuel longer in the second stop than Dyson for the run to the checkered flag. So Dyson on the run towards the halfway mark now. We'll get to lap 13 by halfway, so that actually does solve the problem for us. It does look like we're only going to go 26 laps this evening, folks, and that's good. That's good news. I like even numbers. So 13 will get us beyond 22 and a half. So 13 for the run home. That'll get us to 45. And maybe a little bit of overtime attached to that still. But, of course, that's going to be by virtue of the fact that we've got to transit the lane once more. At least everybody else except Bondi got through without incident. Brenton Morris was interesting. He was on the pit box for 22.13 seconds. And Wayne Taylor for 20.43. So everybody else in around that 9 to 12 second bracket. 8.9 for Moz Moroz. He went remarkably short. And Bondi parked up and retired.
I'd hazard a guess those two long ones took tyres, either by mistake or intentionally.
Whoa. John Baldwin, black flag. John Baldwin has a black flag. Oh dear. So another spanner in the works, and this time it's John Baldwin, who I dare say has to present to pit lane for a drive-through to clear that black flag. Will that be incident points? Will it be something else? Not sure, but Baldwin has a black flag. So an extra invoice coming his way tonight.
Damien Seeger's had an incident here. Let's see what happened. Oh, just locked the rears a bit and spun around. Oh, and gets the wall.
Gets the Armco. I'm not sure what hurts more, actually, the Armco or the concrete, but either would be less than desirable. Damien Seeger back on track. No, he's parked up and done as well. He's gone to pit lane and exited. So we have our third retirement of the night. Martin Lipsky's back up to 20th. And we are down. Oh, no. Pritchard. Slow down on the main straight.
I think there might have been some contact with someone else there, or he's just clipped the Wall of the Champions. So let's have a look.
And Baldwin to pit. Yeah, there it is. Bang. Oh. Both the right front and rear of the car has been clouted. Baldwin through pit lane, transiting. He is stopping, actually, so it's a stop and hold penalty potentially there for John Baldwin. Either that or he's going to park up and say, you know what, I've had enough. I've had a gutful. Let me out of here. Because he's certainly not at the critical lap in which he could complete the pit stop. So John Baldwin's probably out of the race as well. The boy from Gundagai, better known as, in week 5 and 6 at least, better known as Blinky Bill, has joined us in the commentary box. What happened, Bondi? Are you there, Craig? No? Okay, we'll keep going. I'll come back to Bondi a little bit later on. Maybe he's muted the microphone, maybe he's walked away in disgust, maybe he wasn't expecting me to drag him into the commentary box so quickly, I'm not sure. But oh no, he's there. Oh, well, there you go. At least when somebody's trying to get your attention, at least you eventually answer them. Listen, that was a good little charge from you until it all come terribly undone, and then you got slugged on pit lane.
Yeah, well, I'm just done with this I don't feel like doing any more. I might do supercars, but I think I'll end up calling it. So.
Well, that's unlucky. And yet you were riding on such a high on Monday night, Craig. You're going so beautifully in the GT3s.
I guess that's what happens when you lose your good luck charm. But yeah.
Oh, okay.
Either way. Yeah.
I'll reply to that via private correspondence a little bit later on.
Yeah, but yeah, just didn't have any pace, so I stuffed my quali up, started at the back, and then spun it, and then didn't even see a car coming because you can't see across the other side of the car.
Yeah.
And then my answer to that is, why are you doing so far to the inside? So I'm going to argue that penalty.
Well, yeah, that's fair.
But
in saying that, though, the penalty you got, I thought it was a bit harsh that they slugged you on pit lane as well, mate. I mean, yes, I get the merge point, the line is there and you've got to be on the left side of that line, but it seemed a bit harsh that you got a stop and hold.
No, that was just me quitting, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, really? Oh, so you were okay. Yeah, righto. No, it's just when we saw you sitting there for 20-odd seconds, we thought, oh, hang on, something's gone wrong. Oh, speaking of something going on, there's Reg Burke having a look at Mosmoroz. Thank goodness, a battle on the racetrack. It's been a while. It's been a bit tame, this one, Matt Schmidtke. It's not like Motorsport.
Yeah, it's definitely not the most interesting race in terms of on-track action, but there's a couple more things to be solved through pit stops and whatnot, so we'll have to see how the entire race pans out, but I've got a pretty good idea how that's going to go as well.
Indeed. So Dyson, Lobb, Lavis. And Lavis is clear in third. 3 seconds up the road from Dylan Walker, Adam Funslow and Brett Barker, the closest battle on the racetrack. Then Chris Henguy Leach. Then Joe Baldwin's got Richard Brookfield and Wade Sheedy for company, but he's got a second on Brookfield at the moment, so he's got a little bit of a buffer to play with. He's at least broken that slipstream and toe. I think the supercars in Mexico will be more to your liking, Craig.
Yeah, I think I've got alright pace, but yeah, I'm going to do practice and then I don't know if I'll follow through to a race or not, but we'll see. Unlucky.
That being said, at least we're looking forward to something of the non-motorsport variety next weekend with the Ashes getting underway. I know you'll be sitting there, one eye on the telly, watching that.
Party that weekend.
Yeah, well, take your laptop or take something with you so you can watch it on the go.
I'm thinking of it.
Good boy. I've taught you well. This, of course, goes back to when he and I were spending the weekend in Wagga watching Live Golf and commentating and racing and karting events at the same time, ladies and gentlemen. Live Golf going to 4 days next year as well, Bondi, so you'll enjoy that. Dyson, Lobb, Ravis, Walker and Funslow, the top 5. Barker, Hen, Leach, Baldwin and Brookfield, the top 10. I thought the circuit Gilles Villeneuve might produce something a little bit more stimulating, life-affirming than this. Wade Sheedy to pit lane. Exactly what we spoke about. Exactly what we spoke about. Sheedy at the end of lap 16, the critical number. We spoke about the fact that everybody went 10 laps on the first stint. We're anticipating 26. So the earliest you can go is 16, and Mosmoroz is doing the same. Fuel the tank, get it home. Reg Burke's got to slow down to serve, as acknowledged by the yellow box on the totem pole next to his name there, ladies and gentlemen. 3 retirements already, one of those in the commentary box with us right now. Speaking of karting, anything on this weekend?
No, not for me at least.
Copy that.
Working B Saturday, work Sunday, and then next weekend, final round of club championship. But I've already got that wrapped up, so I'm only going there for possibly one last junior race. Yeah. Or I might have my final junior race next year at Top Guns, but we'll see what happens there.
Fair enough. Now, the other thing as well, let's just have a chat about the fact that we've got the off-season coming up. I want you to be the first to know that I'm off to the nation's capital on the last weekend of January. First round of the kart starts for 26. So, yes, gig number 1 of the year already locked in, but I'm not necessarily a fan of starting work at the end of January, but at least by that point, we'll have been back on air for at least a week, maybe 2 here on the platforms of the Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club. I'm going to have to find somewhere in Canberra, of all places, to go and watch the tennis Grand Slam finals from Melbourne Park as well. But Anyway, you got to do what you got to do to keep the money coming in. Dyson, Lob, Lavis, Walker, and Funslow. Have you been to the Canberra circuit before?
Yeah, I went there
Great little racetrack.
once or twice. It was raining one time, I know that much.
Yeah, I'm really excited to get down there. Actually, of all the circuits that the Kart Stars visits in a year, the only one that I haven't been to yet, and is about to be ticked off and changed, is Canberra. So no, that'll be a tremendous amount of fun. What won't be a tremendous amount of fun is getting a flight out of the joint, because they're not as not as frequently available as what they are from Melbourne or Sydney to Brisbane. But I'll still get home for the Monday night, ready for the GSRC broadcast, I guarantee you. I'm now actually tempted, I must say, and I don't mind sharing this with the audience at home as well. As everybody knows, I escaped the progressive civilization for 6 weeks per summer. I'm now seriously tempted to make it 2 months and just stay down there until the end of Kart Stars Canberra and then come home from there. I'm sure the housemates up here won't necessarily complain with me gone for an extra 2 weeks. They'll enjoy the peace and quiet. Dyson, Lob, Ravis, Walker, Funslow, Barker and Hen, the top 7 here. I'll also have to try and see if I can't squeeze in a trip down your way so we can go and have a game of golf as well, mate. Andrew Dyson's picked up a slowdown. And Darren Lobb has come to pit lane. So again, exactly what we talked about. Varying strategies in this part of the race. But now that we've seen Peter Vanderberg, Moz Moroz, Brookfield, Sheedy, Baldwin all come in the last 2 laps. We've now got Lobb, Funslow and Leach in on 18. Anybody else that hasn't yet stopped will be in at the end of 19 or 20. And all eyes on Andrew Dyson to see when he pulls the trigger there. He went a full load that last time through. Trent Lavis did as well. So did Dylan Walker. They now run 1, 2, 3 on the racetrack. But on corrected order, we still expect Darren Lobb to slot in second. Bondi, you've driven a fair few different machines here on the platforms of the GSRC. You found your home in GT4. Let's be perfectly honest. And also, of course, you've had some great success in recent times in GT3 too. But let me ask you this: how difficult are these cars to drive? Because that's one of the big talking points week in, week out. That if you want to have a challenge, you come and drive these cars.
I would be saying it's pretty easy, honestly. All you got to do is become a man again, use your clutch, and as long as you don't throttle up like I did, you're fine. It's much easier than the Gen 3, in my opinion.
I love the irony of it, ladies and gentlemen. He's sitting there saying that they're actually easy to drive unless you cock it up. Now, Matt Schmidtke, your impressions of, I mean, I know you don't necessarily get to go out and race them because you're here in the broadcast booth with us, but have you at least had a steer of these things at some point over the years?
I have not. I actually had to buy the car specifically to broadcast this series, so if we run it again and I'm not in the booth, I might give it a go and see what happens.
Yeah, the thing is, obviously, in comes Brett Barker. We've all got an eye on this time of year because we start having a chat about what's coming up in terms of iRacing patch updates, content drops, new tracks, new cars, etc. But we always find a way as a club, even though we're going to have 6 weeks to plan what we do for Turn 1 next year, we still find a way as a club to go back to something a little bit less modern in terms of the technical challenges that it brings to the table. And the thing that they always say about these American muscle cars like the NASCARs, the old gen NASCARs, and these things, the TransAms, is that they go like a scalded cat, but you also wear out the brake pads throughout the course of a race because you gotta spend a lot of time pulling them up. They're easy to get going, but they're tough to pull up. And that's probably why you're seeing lap times in excess of about 25 to 30 seconds south of where you will see the likes of Lewis Hamilton, Felipe Massa, etc., tearing around this circuit in a Formula One car. I don't know why I said Felipe Massa. Oh, actually, no, I do. He's been in the headlines recently, still trying to argue that he was the moral victor of the 2008 Formula One World Championship. He's obviously been listening to Piers Morgan too much. In comes Andrew Dyson, end of lap 20. 7 laps, or is it 6 laps? It's probably going to be 6 laps to go by the time Daiso gets through there, folks. So 26 will be the cutoff tonight. Trent Lavis in as well. We're expecting Dylan Walker, Chris Henn, and Brenton Morris all to come in this time through. So too Reg Burke, Sam Lehman down the order, and Martin Lipsky. We've got out there on the racetrack at the moment, still only 19 runners. Tom Pritchard, the latest one to pull up. And John Baldwin has got back out there, but after that second stop, which was 46 seconds, and also the stop-go penalty that went with it earlier in the race as well, he's now showing a lap down. And Wayne Taylor is therefore the last car on the lead lap. And Taylor has completed 3 stops, actually, given that he started on pit lane. So keep an eye on all of that. Well, Felipe Massa, it's funny, isn't it, Jordan Malcolm? I mean, that's probably how out of touch I am with Formula One at the moment, but I don't really want to talk about the modern situation, given where our mate Oscar Piastri is at the moment. The pressure's too much. It's got to him, and McLaren not helping matters, and Lando's found some form and also got on top of the psychological battle of it all as well. But yes, no, you're right. It wasn't on anyone's bingo card. But yes, the comparison was anyone that's a Formula One racer gets around here about half a minute quicker than these guys. That's the point I was trying to make. I've just given everybody a throwback to the late 2000s. Look at me go. Darren Lobb, fastest lap of the race. What a way to respond. Now, here's one for you. That wasn't on the bingo card. You just saw it on there. Dylan Walker's gone 11 laps in this stint. We haven't seen an 11-lap stint tonight, but we're seeing 2 of them in this stint. One from Dylan Walker and one from Reg Burke as well. Martin Lipsky back out on the racetrack. He just stays on the lead lap, getting back out, rejoining in 18th. 19 cars still running. Tom Pritchard, the latest retirement. Even if he was to get back out on the racetrack, he wouldn't make 75% of the completed race distance, so you can just about put a line through him. Trent Lavis has got himself up in the 2nd spot. Wow, there you go. I didn't see that one coming. Lavis has got up to 2nd. On corrected order, Lavis has gone to 2nd on Darren Lobb. That helps Andrew Dyson out, Matt Schmidtke, and we talk about that at this time of the season as well, don't we? The protagonists that come in sporadically to have a little bit of a jandle that end up having an impact on the championship. They can't factor in the fight themselves, but they can certainly make or break it for somebody else.
Yeah, they certainly can, and that has put Lobb back. He loses, this would be 60-point round, 50. That's about 3 or 4 points extra he'll lose to Dyson, which could be make or break for him. If Dyson looks like he's got this pretty well wrapped up, but he could run into some trouble in the next couple of rounds still.
This is awesome stuff. It's Dyson, it's Lavis, it's Lobb, it's Walker, it's Funslow, Henn, Barker, Reach, Baldwin, and Sheedy. Biggest movers, well, Bondi was +10 until he crashed. +4 for Trent Lavis, +7 for Moz Moroz. Nobody else getting a look in there at the moment. Fastest lap of the race belongs to Darren Lobb, so he does get the opportunity to get that bonus point wrestled away from Andrew Dyson. He's got 2.8 seconds to try and reel in Trent Lavis, but Lavis is 9.5 seconds in arrears of Andrew Dyson. But I said that early on, didn't I? As soon as Lobb fell off the back of Dyson, give it to Dyson. Cash the check now, and it's going to be 4 round wins on the trot for the master of the entree at the moment. I mean, what he's doing in the Toyotas is phenomenal. He's dominating GT4, and he's making a late charge in the TransAm series as well. And with 3 rounds to go, he will be the points leader on countback once all of the numbers are crunched by Adam Lavis tonight. Speaking of Lavis, I haven't mentioned him yet. Normally we do see him
on track.
Yeah, normally we see him on the track, don't we? So that's an interesting one. Hopefully he'll be out there for the supercars a little bit later on. Hopefully the power's still on in his part of the world, down there in far northern New South Wales. Dyson, Lavis, then Lobb, then Walker, then Funslow, lap 23. Bondi's still with me. Are you in the practice session for the supercars right now?
Nope.
Why not?
Because I don't even know if I want to do it.
Oh, well, if it helps, I'm commentating.
Yeah, but that only gets me so far. You know
True.
that.
That's true. That is very true. Well, you're more than welcome. If you don't race, you're more than welcome to sit in here in the booth with me. But I would have thought you'd have better things to do on a Wednesday night than do that. Actually, on the subject of better things to do on a Wednesday night, let's go around the grounds. Holy smoke! 19.1 overs gone in the Women's Big Bash League fixture at the Allen Border Field in Brisbane tonight. Make it 2 for 166. It was 1 for 166. Beth Mooney's just gone for 105 or 73 balls. A stellar innings that, but the Brisbane Heat have got her with 4 balls left in the innings, 2 for 166. And the Brisbane Heat are going to have their work cut out for them, chasing in excess of 170 tonight there in Brisbane. Would I have been there if I wasn't here? No, probably not. I can sit and watch it on the telly and enjoy it all the same. Reg Burke having a spin down at the hairpin. That's the thing that's actually surprised me, Matt. I mean, the more and more we get into this race and the more and more this field spreads out, we're seeing less in the way of driver error, which is testament to the skill set of these guys. Yep, we've had a couple of little, single vehicle incidents, but I don't recall seeing a multi-car wreck in any of this.
Yeah, I think the only car-to-car contact was Burke and Sharp right near the start of the race, and then it's just everyone else having their own little incidents here and there.
Slowdown has just been cleared by Dylan Walker, I think it was, and Darren Lobb still has the fastest over the race to his name. Let's remind everybody of what's to come. GSRC TransAm, round 8, of course, next week. Sandown, that'll be a beauty. Phillip Island in week 10, and in between in week 9, they're off to Mexico. Sandown, Mexico, Phillip Island. To be fair, it would have made more sense, logistically speaking, to go Mexico, Phillip Island, Sandown, or Sandown, Phillip Island. But the joys of being in the virtual world, ladies and gentlemen, it costs absolutely nothing to go from location to location, from one side of the world to the other. Got to love that. It's like all that rubbish with regards to Formula One saying that they were going to try and regionalise the calendar, right? In one respect, they've been able to do that, but they've still got 2 Middle East rounds at the start of the year and 2 at the end of the year. They've still got an American round, 2 American rounds in the middle of the year and 4 at the end of the year. So, I mean, there's still a little bit of work to do as far as I'm concerned. Not least, of course, they still actually find a way to make it one trip to Asia. One trip to Asia once the European flyaway season is done, because they go to Singapore and they don't have anything to back that with anymore. So, yeah, some of it makes sense, and then some of it you just look at it and shake your head and wonder who's drawing this rubbish up. Dyson, Lavis, then Lobb, Walker and Funslow, then Hen, Barker, Leach, Baldwin, Sheedy and Brookfield, the top 11 here. Not real much change in the closing stages, but this is getting spicy here, because that's Chris Hen having a look at Adam Funslow. That's the 2 teammates for Orbic Motorsport. And Hen will be in a position here, potentially, if he can get the run, to have a look down at the hairpin. Oh, he didn't get a clean run. He was slipping and sliding. I think he bogged it down a little bit through there. It's given Funslow the advantage on the run to the hairpin for the penultimate time. White flag in the air at the line for Andrew Dyson, who will come back to the line with about 1.25 minutes on the clock, 1.10 minutes on the clock, in fact. There he goes, white flag in the air, Dyson's on the run home.
I think Barney's going for a fish or something. He's out here on the dock.
Yeah, what the bloody hell is he doing? Seriously. Slacking off in the cubicle. Yeah, that sounds about right. Bit like meter readers for Energex. Dyson, Lavis, Lobb, Walker, Funslow and Hen the top 6. 1:43.227 for Trent Lavis. He's PB of the night. Can Dyson pull something out to displace Darren Lobb, to take that, to snare that that fastest of the race off him? He'd have to find 0.4 of a second. I don't think it's doable. I mean, the best for Lobb was a 1:42.376, which is an almighty lap, considering that Dyson had been the benchmark of the night and was only on a 1:42.769. Extraordinary.
Looks like Dyson's got a bit of a dent in the front right there. I wonder when that happened.
Not sure. That's a good pickup from you, actually, Matt Schmidt. Although that being said, how often have we actually been able to check in with Andrew Dyson tonight? There's not really been much excitement or action going on around him. It's been a formidable drive nonetheless. And as I said, he is the form man of this series at the moment. He's about to chalk up yet another win. It will be his 5th of the season. It'll be his 4th round win on the trot. Done the casino straight for the final time. We go into overtime on a Wednesday night. Don't forget the supercars from Mexico still to come. But in the meantime, let's ride this champion home for DPR Racing. Last turn, checkered flag. Victory margin pushing 11 seconds. And Andrew Dyson takes the championship lead with 3 rounds to go in the merch.GSRC.inc TransAm Series. With his 5th win of the year and his 4th round win on the trot in Montreal, Canada. Second to Lavis. Great arrival from him. Oh, Dylan Walker. Drifting. Hooning across the start-finish line. What the hell was that? Trent Lavis, 11.2 the winning margin in the end for Andrew Dyson. Darren Lobb in for 3rd, was 2 seconds back off Lavis. It went all wrong in that pit stop, didn't it? 21.75 in that pit stop for Darren Lobb. That's where it went all horribly wrong for him. That's where he lost the ground to Lavis. That's where he lost the hope of securing 2nd tonight. Dylan Walker was an impressive 4th. Funslow, Hen, Barker, Leach, Baldwin, Joe Trucker, Baldwin in for 9th. Wade Sheedy 10th. Bloomfield, Morris, Moroz, Vanderberg, Burke, Lehman, Taylor, and Martin Lipsky makes up the field of those that were on the lead lap. John Baldwin's going to finish a lap down. Pritchard, Seeger, Bond and Sharp, the retirements in all of that. Bondy, from your standpoint, observations of what you just saw, mate. What did you think of it?
To be honest with you, the only bit I watched was actually from my point of view when I was racing.
No.
I hardly watched any of the other stream.
He's got the sulks on tonight, doesn't he, Matt? He's got
maybe a little bit.
He's got the sulks going. Oh, he's got a dose of the sads, Bondy. But that's okay. You're allowed to have them occasionally. We're human beings. We're allowed to be emotional. I like it. Thanks for dropping on in, mate. I do appreciate it as always. I know you'll just be happy that you're able to actually get a word in tonight. Good to see you out there. Hopefully we'll see you in the open wheelers on Friday night. I know GT4 will be right up your alley tomorrow night as well, and who knows, maybe even the Porsches too. Work getting in the way or not?
No, one shift
Good.
this week.
Oh, lovely.
But, well, no, not really when I'm trying to get money for this new sim, but...
Yes, yeah. For those of you that are just joining us, there's Daiso getting ready to light it up in celebration with some burnouts and donuts, and we'll take that in just a moment. But the bank of Mr. and Mrs. Bond is slowly drying up for Craig, which is why he's trying to make his own money to justify his ongoing presence in the sim racing world. Let's celebrate with Andrew Dyson now. If he starts lighting it up here, we might... I'm hoping he'll light it up in celebration, or is he's got the all clear. No other cars on the circuit, Daiso. You go for it, son. We're going to be quiet here and just let the... Oh, no, he's not even going to celebrate it. We're going to literally take in the burnouts and the donuts and enjoy the noise and the sound and just take in the moment and the glory. But not even Daiso's able to celebrate the success tonight. Maybe he was short on fuel. Oh, well, 11.2 seconds. And what a performance. He's about to come in here and join us, actually. Well picked up. Whoever got to him before I did, he sat in the green room for about half a second, ladies and gentlemen, and Matt Schmidtke's dragged him in. He'll get a chance to have a chat to us in just a moment. 11.2, the winning margin. Again, 2.03 then back from Lavis to Lobb. Walker was 4th. That was impressive. Biggest mover of the race was Moz Baroz, up 7 spots. And in the end, John Baldwin and Martin Lipsky actually is showing... I didn't actually realise that. Apologies. Martin Lipsky went a lap down late in the piece as well, and he has finished in 18th, and John Baldwin 19th. Let's have a look at some highlights here. If our Disruptive Labs replay wishes to load, Matt Schmidtke. There it is. There we go. We're off to rock and roll in the replay. So let's pick all of that apart. Trent Lavis up 4 spots was the biggest mover of anybody inside the top 10. But Moz will get the bonus points being up 7 spots. And actually, Bondi, it's not all lost, mate. You did get +1. You still finished ahead of Dale Sharp. He was the first retirement, you were the second. So where there's a couple of negatives, we've also been able to find a couple of positives. Glass half empty, glass half full. Andrew Dyson, the king of the entree at the moment. What is your favourite entree dish, just out of curiosity?
Geez, you can't go past sweet and sour pork, can you? That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. They're all pretty fun.
Well, and what about as far as the race cars are concerned, as far as the entrees are concerned?
Yeah, they're all pretty good. All about the same, I reckon. I mean, I can't really pick one from them.
Yeah, there was nothing sour about that performance, mate. I mean, Darren Lobb kept you honest early, as we expected him to do so. He was the championship leader going into this round. He won't be going out of it because you've obliterated him. But, and also the drop rounds work in your favour as well. And by the way, on that notion, ladies and gentlemen, what I said there earlier remains the same. So I can give you the drop rounds before Adam Lavis even gets to the points matrix tonight. And that is that Daiso will drop rounds 2 and 3. They're not classified, the 8 and the DNR. So he's still got one drop round up his sleeve, essentially, but he wouldn't want to be falling back on 15 points if push comes to shove. Darren Lobb, however, will also drop his first 2 rounds, of which he scored just 25 and 30 points, because the last 4 weeks have been better than that, and tonight he was third as well. So that 40-point swing will give Daiso at least a 30-point advantage, plus whatever the bonus is tonight between him, or the difference is tonight between him and Darren Lobb going into the final 3 rounds of the season. But that's 4 round wins on the trot, mate. You're in some sort of touch here. I won't ask you about the second race in the Toyotas from Monday night. I know that brought undone a pretty good run that you were on there. You've still got a very comfortable lead with 3 rounds to go. But as far as this was concerned, what'd you make of Montreal and that car and that performance? Because it looked as though you were in a little bit of a contest early on, and then something's happened to Darren. He picked up a slowdown and maybe made another mistake, and then he's fallen back into the clutches of Trent Lavis, and you didn't see him for the rest of the night.
Yeah, he did, man. So Darren was probably, Daz was faster than I to get the key fastest lap. Tried to beat it, so I couldn't get there. So he was definitely fast, but he had a couple of things not go his way. He made some stuff up, so his own admission in this week there. So yeah, otherwise he was catching me when he was behind me, and I was trying to get off tracks, and he only had one, so he wasn't necessarily trying to get behind me. But wasn't getting them, and he was catching me, so he was probably a little faster, to be honest. But you can feel free to ask me about Monday. It was my own fault in that race. I can't remember who I hit now. I hit at the last corner. I went a little sideways at the second last corner. I thought I was all good coming into the last one. Gave me a bit of a diff on that. So, deserved the penalty. I'm not sure if the drive through was the correct penalty as far as applicable penalties go. I don't think it was a normal
Well, it's interesting in the sense that, because we'll have the discussion on Monday night, the reasoning that Adam Lavis provided on air at least, was that I think the first incident was a 5-second and the second was a drive-through. So you still, funnily enough, you managed to overcome the 5-second deficit and not get any further invoices. The drive-through, I think they've given you because, as Adam put it, if they were to give you 10 or 15 seconds, it would have been more of an invoice than what a drive-through would have been, given how short the pit lane is there. I think that had something to do with the fact that a drive-through here isn't as big, isn't as big as an invoice as it would be at Indianapolis or Mount Panorama or something like that. But it wasn't ideal. In saying that, though, you did show that you were human, and the other thing is you've still got a very comfortable buffer up the sleeve in that series. So no harm, no foul, as they say. Focusing on this, though, mate, what is it about the run that you're on? I mean, how much of a confidence boost has this season been? I mean, you've been a constant improver throughout the course of the season. We've noticed that you've been coming on leaps and bounds, and I can't help but think there's a little bit more in the tank yet.
Nothing's really changed. And the biggest thing that probably changed was a bit of an attitude adjustment, really. I mean, when I started racing in the club, I just wanted to sort of jump in, just qualify anywhere and just get amongst it. But it wasn't really working out for me. I kept finding myself getting involved in little accidents here and there. You rack up some license points, and the next thing you know, you've got 5 license point penalties for everybody's series. So I thought, you know what, even though I was enjoying that, I thought I probably should not do it, because eventually I'll just start missing races everywhere and miss out on having fun with my mates. So decided I'll try a little better in qualifying, and at least better makes it towards the front, I suppose you could say, which is not, it doesn't really make much difference at the end of the day. As long as you're racing people, you're racing people. I still have the same attitude in that I'll go out and have a go, and if I crash myself out, that's all good. As long as I don't crash anybody else out, then I'm still having fun, that's all good. But yes, mistakes still happen, but yeah, I mean, mostly just an attitude adjustment in that I wanted to not just find myself in the busiest part of the races, which generally is the funnest part, I reckon. But yeah, decided to avoid it.
And to counter that, yes, I understand exactly what you're saying. You avoid that chaos if you apply yourself in qualifying. You've been doing that. You've been giving yourself an excellent opportunity to go out there and convert by taking pole positions or front row starts or whatever the case may be. And it's been across the board in all 3 series that we've been actively watching you in. And as I said, there's a triple treat here up for grabs for the taking for you in 3 weeks' time. But on nights like that where you go out and win by 11 seconds, do you get lonely at any point?
Not really. I've still got people to talk to in Discord. Yeah, like Dad was in the race as well. And we had Peter Vanderberg as well. He's in the race with us too. So cruising around and doing his thing. And he's telling us about what's going on. And there's a bit of racing going on back there with him. I can tell you. He was letting us know. So, there's plenty happening.
Actually, it's funny. People ask me the same thing. Don't you ever get lonely when you're driving all over the countryside and spending hours and hours and hours in a car on your own? And I'm like, no. There's 2 things keeping me going. One, I'm looking at the clock to make sure that I'm ahead of the ETA that Google gave me at the start of the trip. And 2, I'm being entertained by the music player, whatever's being belted out through the sound speakers. So on a not dissimilar notion, you've got people keeping you entertained, occupied and amused at the same time, mate. The next 3 rounds, we said it earlier, 2 of them are on home turf, Sandown, Phillip Island. In between, you've got a trip to Mexico. And the supercars are heading there tonight. They're very different cars, so I'm not necessarily sure if tonight serves as a warm-up for TransAm here in a couple of weeks. But talk to me through those 3 circuits and what you think the challenges are going to be that lie ahead for you guys in these cars on those respective racetracks.
Well, I think Mexico is one that we haven't really raced at a lot at all, so there'll be a bit of discovering of alternative lines and stuff to use there, I suppose you could say. Or even the optimal line to 5 will be a thing. But Phillip Island's an interesting one. I've raced there before in this car once before. And Sandown, actually. I've raced there once before. It was a one-off night special event, so it's a bit of a random one that happens to be 2 tracks that we go through. But I found Phillip Island was very obvious that the car went one way better than the other. Obviously, with this car having more weight to one side than the other, even though it's still a road course setup, it will still go better one way than the other. So you'll notice that a lot at that circuit. Not too bad because it's anti-clockwise, so that works. Yeah, I think Mexico.
Let me ask you this: of the 3, the GT4, the Toyota, and this one, which is the hardest to drive? Which takes more out of you?
Probably this one, only because with the 86, you got to back it up so much to go fast. In this one, it feels like there's so much more grip than what you expect, particularly when you first jump in it. But you sort of got to hustle it a little bit and really apply yourself. So, yeah, I think probably the 86 is a little easier and that you can sort of roll up and select up on it. Whereas you sort of got to attack a bit.
Speaking of the 86, since you did mention it, I mean, obviously not ideal those invert races are fraught with danger. You spoke about the dangers of being mid-pack a few moments ago, and just, racing incidents happen. That's just par for the course. But the next 3 weeks, you can't afford to rest on your laurels, but at the same time, you probably can. You've got enough of a buffer to play with, mate. But how keen are you to go out there and put the exclamation mark on what's been a pretty dominant season and finish this job off the best way possible, starting with Watkins Glen next Monday night?
I think all the boys in chat are more keen than I am, to be honest. They've been egging me on a bit, but yeah, I mean, I'll just roll up and just cruise around, do the usual thing, see where we end up, and we'll see how we go. Like I say, I don't really think about technical stuff. I mean, with all respect to all the folks that roll up and try for that sort of stuff, I'll just sort of roll up and take it one race at a time. If you have a good run, you have a good run.
You mentioned earlier a change in attitude. Will the will the addition of some silverware in the trophy cabinet change that mindset with regards to championships or not?
No, it won't. I don't think it will. I actually got my little plaque or whatever this little vinyl thing today. Came in the mail, so thanks to all the folks at the club for that. It's kind of a cool little thing. I think I forgot it. That's what I said. We don't have it here now, but I've got a little spot for it on my shelf of knickknacks and books and old game.
Love it.
Game CDs and stuff. So I'll chuck it up there. Should be cool. But it's a nice little thing. I think it's better than it's certainly better than some trophy thing that sits around the place. I think it's a nice little thing.
Indeed it is. Hey, we'll let you go because we do have to step lively into the supercars at the top of the hour, but it's very quiet in here without your teammate now that he's off on holidays. I'm, of course, talking about my commentary colleague, Ryan Jones.
Yeah, I know. He's over in Thailand, posting photos of beavers and out with his family and stuff. So he's having a good time, but we're missing a little bit. Hopefully he's having fun. I'm sure he is.
Absolutely. He's earned the break. There's no doubt about that. He works very hard. Well done, mate. Anyone else you want to acknowledge while you're here?
Just you guys as well for doing it. I suppose I think I said thanks to the club for the little trophies and stuff, but as always, thanks for the whole thing. So appreciate this whole thing being here. Without it, we can't go racing, or we can. I suppose we've got to go somewhere else, which is a bit, we don't want to do that. But yeah, no, thanks. It's good. Enjoy it.
All right, mate. Hey, very nicely done. Great to catch up with you. Thanks for being so good with your time. You're the only one that's dropped in here for a post-race chat. Bondi's been here for, half your race, actually, because he parked up early on in the piece. So it's always nice to be able to... We don't get to have an elongated chat with you guys at the best of times, so it's nice to be able to do that when the opportunity presents. So thanks for sticking around, and no doubt we'll be catching up after the GT4s tomorrow night, given your current form.
I hope so. I mean, if it's a good night, yeah. If not, I'm not too stressed about it. But yeah, I think it's good to jump in and have a chat. I think more people should. Jump in. There's not too many people jumping in lately, as we can see. So it'd be cool if just a few randoms jumped in, could talk about their night and whatever. That'd be fun.
Actually, good to see you back out there in the GT3 fold on Monday night as well, mate. Was that planned, or is that going to be more regular, or what was the reasoning for that?
No, I thought I'd jump in. The boys had been talking about the race coming up, so I thought it looked like a bit of fun. I made sure I chucked on a cool paint job, which was all pink. Nothing cool about it, actually, just all pink. But yeah, jumped in, had a bias round. It was fun till the last lap last corner, and got served up pretty sweet. But you cop that sometimes, don't you?
Yes, absolutely do. We've been enjoying the guessing game with regards to what livery is Andrew Dyson going to run this week in GT4. So we look forward to seeing what you got up your sleeve for tomorrow night, mate. Thanks for your time as always. Go well.
No, thank you. See you guys.
Just before we move on, boys, going around the grounds, I mentioned earlier that the Scorchers had put on a clinic through Beth Mooney over there to Allan Border Field in Brisbane. The heat in response in the second over, a none for 5, chasing 173 for victory. So 168 required off 113 balls. That'll certainly help. That's 4. None for 9 as Grace Harris moves to 6 and de Klerk stays on 3. Bondi, are you going to stay or go?
I'm going to stay.
Good boy. All right.
We'll see what happens.
We'll catch up with you on the other side. We'll take a break, folks. Stay with us. Ready still to come on a Wednesday night. Zach Coburn and Matt Schmidtke here with you. I'm deputising for Dan Yeaman. He's back next week. The TransAms are back next week as well. They're off to, of course, Phillip Island, Sandown and Mexico in the next few weeks. Of course, week 8 will take them to Sandown. It'll be sprint racing. It'll be 15 minutes and 25 minutes. It'll be 7:45 Eastern Daylight Time next Wednesday night, leading into sprint racing from the Supercars at Snetterton as well. That'll be a beauty. The week after, it's a 45-minute race from Mexico, and then a 45 minutes regular race, actually. So there's nothing special or super or extended about the TransAm finale, but it will be 45 minutes from Phillip Island to bring the curtain down on the season. So their final sprint round next week, then 2 rounds on the back of that to get us to the end of the campaign. Not sure where Adam Lavis is tonight, so those points, when they're updated, we'll have a look at them tomorrow for you on the platforms of the Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club when we're with you for Thursday Night Motorsport as always. We do it with thanks to Disruptive Labs, Waste Options, Pantech Industries, Trophi.AI, of course, Sprite Insider merch.GSRC.inc and Flash Graphics. We're going to stay with you, but we're going to move from North to Central America. We're going to go to Mexico City, to the Autódromo Hermanos Rodríguez, The 7th round of the Trophi.AI Supercar Series. On the other side of this is our Wednesday night motorsport doubleheader continues for you live, exclusive and free across Facebook and YouTube. Don't go away. the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. It is Wednesday Night Motorsport across Facebook and YouTube. It is the third night of the 7th week of the 4th term of the 2025 calendar year, and we are fast zeroing in on the Christmas New Year period and the well-deserved 6-week break. That is the Autódromo Hermanos Rodríguez. That is the setting for Trophi.AI Supercars this evening. And a fascinating 7th round awaits us here. Although if you thought Andrew Dyson was carving it up in the 3 entrees that we're bringing you on Monday, Wednesday and Thursday Night Motorsport this term, have a look at the lead that Sammy Blacklock enjoys in this series in a moment when we have a look at the updated point standings. There are the track, circuit and service settings for you. We've got the expanded widescreen edition of the track map tonight, ladies and gentlemen, care of SDK. Have a look at that. Have a look at how big the track is on here. It's the Grand Prix circuit of Mexico City. It's a 4.24 kilometre circuit, 26 degrees and 53% humidity, 24 the ambient at the moment, 6 kilometre an hour winds, partly cloudy. Zach Cave and Matt Schmidtke with you. Although that's the first time I've seen my name spelled that way. Schmidtke, well played.
I even was looking at it when I was wrote it. Yeah. I'm not the best at that.
I don't know how you've done that.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, we'll fix that up before next week. Let's have a look at the updated championship settings before we venture onto the grid. And Sammy Blacklock on 417 plays Will Buchanan, 259. So what's that? That's 158 points. Holy Jesus. Forget about everybody else. Daylight. Blacklock, Daylight, then Will Buchanan, Lachlan Cable and Darren Lobb. Then Ryan Mueller. Then you go back to Robbie Bradbury, Blake Fitz, Josh Fitt, Dane Snadden and Tim Nicol making up the top 10. But have a look at the margins there. 9 points, 3rd and 4th. That's interesting. Even Stephen, Robbie Mueller and Ryan Mueller and Robbie Bradbury as well. That's exciting. And then 1 point between Fitz and Fitz. So that there are some interesting battles there to take note of. It'll be even more interesting once the drop rounds come into the equation. But I don't think anyone's stopping Sammy Blacklock at this point. The open split, we can tell you that is being topped at the moment by Adam Lavis. Yep, so Adam is in the dev split. There you go. He's been, I think he's been demoted to the dev split this season. Dale Sharp, his teammate, is 6 points behind. Johnny Bannock on 270, 3 points clear of Nathan Michael, 10 points back to Travis Azzopardi, and then 14 back to Greg Heaney. So that's 86 points covering the top 6. And then daylight to Tristan Koch, Liam Miles, Mark McNamara, and Mitch Wood. Grid for tonight is an interesting one. It's 28 deep. It's Sam Blacklock on the front row. And he's there starting alongside Will Buchanan, Tyson Broad, and Sam Cull on the second row. Johnny Bannock, Josh Fitt the third row. Bondi's on the grid in 7th alongside Robbie Bradbury, certainly feeling a lot better with life than what he was about half an hour ago. Darren Shooter and Travis Azzopardi from 5. Chris Thompson, Dave Diddell from 6. Andy Barber, Blake Fitz from 7. Ryan Barber, Dane Snadden from 8. Couple of new names to be mindful of there. Dane Snadden from 8. Josh Sortell and Greg Heaney from 9. Tristan Koch, Nathan Michael from 10. Edward Rollo, Wade Sheedy, Adam Lavis, Dale Sharp, Michael Shepherd, Barry Kluver, Martin Lipsky, and Dylan Walker will make up this field. Now, have a look at that. Extremely dark, black, grey skies above. The track, circuit, server, weather settings. Can we just have a look at that again, please, Matty Schmidtke? At 10:30 in the morning, Central time, 3 kilometre an hour winds, 22 degrees the ambient, 24 on track, cloudy, dry. Winds are northwesters at 315 degrees, so that's bang on northwesterly at 3 kilometres an hour. But yes, cloudy and dark cloud at that as well. Will we get some rain? We shall wait and see. Welcome to Mexico City, the first trip here with the Trophi.AI Supercars. They launch, let's go. Brilliant start from the inside from Tyson Broad. Tyson Broad has split the front row of Blacklock and Buchanan. And side by side down the main straight, we got trouble in the back. Bang! Dale Sharp in the wall. It's not been his night. To the first corner we go. Blacklock on the outside, now the inside, now the outside. Covers off Buchanan. Holds on to position number 2. But Broad's gone. Half a second up the road. Lights ablaze already. I'm waiting for those skies to unleash some water on these drivers. It's extremely dark there at the Autódromo Hermanos Rodríguez. Good start, Bondi up 1 spot. Trouble for Sam Cullen a little bit further back as well. He slotted into 4th, and Blake Fitz has dropped down into 8th. Johnny Bannock up to 5th. Everybody getting through the hairpin at the top of the circuit. Okay, there's a jump start. Black flag there for Dave Duddell, and Blake Fitz has a slow down to serve as well. By gee, plenty happening in the opening half of lap, Matt Schmidtke.
Yep, that certainly
now
is.
Broad's wide as well. Broad's wide. Comes back onto the circuit. Will have a slow down to serve.
And
Wowee.
you did pick up the weather. This is the forecast, so they're a little bit. It's unlikely, but possible still.
I'd like to see it. We were promised rain a couple of weeks ago and got Buckleys. It's always a fascinating spectacle. It's always extremely entertaining. The standing start in Mexico when, oh no, trouble. So further down the order, Dave Duddell, Chris Thompson, Greg Heaney, all involved in a squabble, in a mess on the exit of the infield in the stadium section. Barry Kluver to pit lane. Dylan Walker hasn't even started this race. Dave Duddell to pit lane. Chris Thompson completes the opening lap, moves through to 25th. This is what happened at the start. So they were 3 wide. Oh, that was never going to work, gentlemen. 3 wide going into the hairpin. Uh-oh. Buckley's. Oh, no. Greg Heaney had to sacrifice himself there. Thankfully, no damage sustained by that race car. He can press on, but not ideal at the start here. What was interesting for my Matt Schmidtke a couple of weeks ago when we brought GT3 here, they were talking about, because we're at such high altitude, the way in which they were able to leverage that to their advantage, the way that it had a positive impact on fuel economy. So, yes, there will still be a CPS tonight, but it'll be interesting to see how late these guys can run that tank, can burn that tank, whether or not they'll come through just literally for a stop, drop and go, maybe a tyre change, nothing else.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the fuel economy numbers. I know the engines will probably be down on a bit of horsepower due to the thinner air up here, naturally aspirated, no turbo or supercharger to compress the air to put in the engine, so that might be where that comes from, but I'm not fully up to date with how exactly that works. I just know higher altitude, less horsepower if you haven't got anything with some compression on it.
Big start for Sammy Blacklock. A magnificent launch from his teammate Tyson Broad, but that slowdown has hurt him, and Broad has slowed it back into 3rd spot now. And Will Buchanan, the fastest lap of the race, 144.029. As far as this series is concerned, we know that Blacklock is the form man. 3rd, 2nd, 1st, 2nd, 1st, 3rd throughout the course of this season thus far, and that 3rd was only as a result of contact and a 10-second penalty that was issued as a result of that in last week's round on the streets of Long Beach, California. Blacklock the lead up. Buchanan giving him a good chase. Ford versus Chev. It's good to see that we've actually got a 2-manufacturer horse race at the top end of town. Chris Thompson, a 5-second penalty for the contact with Dave Duddell. That led to that contra implicating Greg Heaney, of course, and a few others in the infield section of the racetrack. Plenty to be excited about here. Plenty of positional battles still out there on the racetrack, but equally the field is also spread out. Kluver and Duddell have been through pit lane, come back out again. Chris Thompson down 14 spots. There've been some big moving and shaking of this order on the opening lap. Bondi's up 1 spot, has Josh fit for company, trying to get by Johnny Bannock. That's the battle we picked up on screen. The interesting thing for mine here is that Bondi's in the slipstream range, and the toe down here is immense. It's monumental. Whether or not the youngster from Gun to Go will be able to use that slipstream to his advantage to move up a spot remains to be seen. So far, no is the answer. But it only requires one little slip up from Bannock to change all that. Good to see that Sevi Cullen's back out there as well on the back of a very promising performance the other night in the Indian NXT series, in which the top 8 match, Mickey, my goodness, what a race it was, recovered by 0.42 of a second. I've never seen anything as frantic, as crazy as that on an oval like Gateway, Illinois, which is not, you know, your typical standard super speedway sort of setup. And yet to have them pack racing the way they were, it was a phenomenal finish.
Yeah, I was going to race that, but then Josh hit me up for something once I dipped out of the skippies, and I'm like, maybe I won't, but it seems like it was a good one I missed out on.
Well, it definitely was. It definitely was a good one you missed out on. And it always seems to be the case, doesn't it? You miss out on the good one, you end up here and think, well, hang on, I'd like to be able to swap that, thanks. I'll miss the bad one and take the good one. 1 for 43 after 6 overs, by the way. The Heat struggling in their run chase against the Perth Scorchers at the moment. They desperately need to lift that run rate if they're going to avoid going 0-2 to start the season. Of course, they lost to the Renegades on Sunday as part of the triple header. There's Adam Lavis to the inside. Not the leader of the elite split at the moment. In fact, sorry, not the leader of the dev split, I should say, at the moment. The just for the sake of those of you that are tuning in, the elite boys are highlighted by the white numbers and the blue plates. The grey plates with the white numbers are the... yes, exactly. It was awesome to commentate as well. The grey plates with the white numbers for the dev split. And then we've got a few newbies in the server tonight, by evidence of the fact that we've got 4 drivers there in the V8SC TBC category, the orange numbers on the black plates. So at the end of the night, it'll be Adam Lavis's job, poor bloke, to sit there and attribute those 4 gentlemen, allocate them to a particular server. 144.029 will be Buchanan fast love of the race so far, and no signs of anyone entertaining the idea of coming to pit lane just yet, even though arguably we'll be getting very close to that window where you could stop and make it home. But tyre wear is going to be a consideration to factor into the race craft here in the strategy match, Schmidt, because you don't want to be on completely worn and torn rubber right at the very end of proceedings here if you can help it.
No, you certainly do not. You want as fresh a rubber at the end of the race as possible, so I would expect everyone here to go as long as possible, but someone might go for the alternate strategy and pit early and come out and try and make some positions up like that.
Two for 44 now, so it's just got worse for the Brisbane Heat. 2 for 44 through 8 overs, or sorry, 6.5 overs, I should say, and not the new batsman coming to the crease. So, onto the main straight we go. There's Adam Lavis. He's chasing Wade Sheedy for Platinum Racing. Sheedy's a new name that's been popping up in the last couple of weeks. As Semi-Stride slides into my Instagram message inbox with another reel. He's good at that. Lavis to the inside into 15th, but remains 4th within his class at this particular point in time. Lock up from Sheedy to avoid a collision. Nice sacrificial lamb moment there from Wade Sheedy. And in behind him at the moment is Darren Shooter. 3 very polarisingly, distinctly different liveries there. Shooter, of course, for Ratbag Racing. And that's... it's not Dayglow orange, but it's there's an orange with a crossover of yellow and gold attached to it. Down the inside of Sheedy. Sheedy might be about to lose 2 for the price of 1 here, but he's going to get the better run off the hairpin and consolidate on the run to the left-hander. Only half a second separates Blacklock and Buchanan at the front of this field, but Blacklock again remains a cut above Buchanan, believe it or not. This is the sort of form that old mate Sammy Blacklock's in at the moment. Ryan Mueller's had a win this season. So too has Lachlan Capel. But the one driver that hasn't yet tasted success on the top step of the podium this season is Will Buchanan. and yet he's had every other finish under the sun. He's had an 11th, a 6th, a 2nd, a 3rd, a 6th, a 2nd, a 5th. Always the bridesmaid, never the burrow, by the sounds of that. And he'd be desperately keen to break the hoodoo and get on the board here. Bond and fit with the slow down to serve a piece. And he's never had a better opportunity than what he does right now, does Will Buchanan, to displace Sam Blacklock and try and get himself to the front of this race. But getting to the front one thing, staying there another. And a long way to go here, and it could well be to his advantage in the long run, Matt Schmidt. You just hang in there and follow Blacklock for now.
Yep, that might be the way to go. Just sit in there, save some fuel, and maybe you can jump him in the pit stop because you saved that bit of fuel, shorter stop time. We'll to see what happens.
Good evening to Daniel Snedden tuning in. Hello, mate. Nice to have you on board. He's with Willie Buchanan all the way here. Dave Diddell with the slow down to serve. Everybody remains on the lead lap. Wade Sheedy's been to pit lane on lap 6. So there you go. That might be an indication that Sheedy thinks we can get home from here with no further fuel tyre requirements. But again, tyre wear will be his issue towards the end. Blacklock the leader. Buchanan second, less than half a second the advantage. 7 laps gone, 12 and a half minutes gone. Just having a look at the timings there, about 14 minutes for every 8 laps, right? It's a 40-minute race. 2 laps every 3.5. 3.5 is 7. 7 times 5 is 35. Put another 2 on that. You get to 38.5 minutes. Put another 1 on that. So you're not going to quite get your 6x7, which would be 6x4, which is 24. So we're looking at about 23 laps. So this time by the line will be 15 to go. Down the inside, Shooter finally gets the better of Adam Lavis. Those two, of course, no longer in the company of Wade Sheedy. He's gone to pit lane. And so too now do Martin Lipsky and Dale Sharp. Well, Sharpie's had a poor old run. Battered and bruised sort of race car for the first 7 laps. He'll be relieved to be getting in there, getting a fast repair and getting back out again. This is how it all started. It started horribly for Dale Sharp. They were 5 wide at one point. Are you kidding me? I mean, he went down the inside, but what's happened to Trigger?
Oh, that Whiskey Business car's just moved over on him a bit. That's a pretty good recovery, though, considering.
Jeez. Well, that's exactly right. I didn't pick up who the Whiskey Business Racing entry was that did that, but obviously felt the need to redress, and rightly so.
Wasn't Greg?
Was it he? No, I didn't
Nathan.
think it was No, Nathan Michael. Yeah, Nathan Michael. So, Martin Lipsky.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go. Buchanan on the inside. Buchanan on the inside on the run to 1. Goodbye. Will Buchanan takes the lead away from Sam Blacklock in Mexico City, round 7 of the Trophi.AI Supercar Series. What about that? There we go. Hugely exciting now to watch Buchanan and Blacklock do their thing. Lead change number 2 of the night, but it's the first time we've seen someone other than Orbit Drop Bear Motorsport on the top spot of the leaderboard. Remember, it's interesting too. You look at the team's championship, Orbit Drop Bear, Broad's running the Corvette. He's running, the Camaro. He's running the Chev. I'm getting the GTs and my supercar parlons mixed up. And Blacklock's running the Mustang. So, yes, there's already been a Chev in the lead tonight, but not a team outside of Orbit Drop Bear. That changes now with Will Buchanan for AITT. Nicely done. And more concerning, Matt Schmidtke, is the margin they're putting between themselves and everybody else. I mean, we mentioned this earlier with the dominant performance of Andrew Dyson. These guys are already 5.5 seconds up the road on Tyson Broad.
Yep, they are absolutely going for it. It's very similar to what happened to last week, where I think it was last week at Sandown, where Blacklock I think it was Broad, and
No, that was the week before.
That was the week
Yeah.
before. They all.
'Cause I
I
was
suppose
here.
that was when you were there. The three of them just took off at this front as well, and this is very similar to that. Though there's only 2 cars this time.
Correct. Correct. Am I calling a parody issue? No, I'm absolutely not. I was trying to avoid the use of the swear word, quite frankly. Daniel Snedden. That rubbish really. That's one of the reasons why I'm so glad I don't immerse myself in, observing the sport anymore in the real world, because of all the political banter and the whinging and the moaning and the groaning that goes on. Parody this, parody that. I'm not, and I'm not a fan of them going down in the NASCAR direction either. With the finals, you're not the AFL, you're not the NRL. Although next you'll have the Supercars introducing the wildcard round, because if it's good enough for the AFL and it's good enough for NASCAR, for the NFL, it's good enough for Supercars. I mean, fair dinkum. When did we as a society lose the ability to think for ourselves, outside of COVID, I mean, because we did lose the ability to think for ourselves there for quite a bit, because we had dictators and bureaucrats doing it for us. But when did we lose the ability to think for ourselves and do something Australian? We used to be better than the Yanks, and now we're just copycatting. It really annoys the crap out of me. And quite rightly, society, the rank and file, as Sam Newman would call them. Here's Blacklock having another look on Buchanan, by the way. Yes, I'll get back to calling the car race in a moment, but these boys have started me. Have a look at how committed they are. They're just throwing these things around the racetrack. The passionate, dedicated, loyal fans and supporters of not just the game, but specific clubs in general, of the AFL, absolutely got stuck into the AFL when they announced the wildcard scenario for next season, and the full draw is being released tomorrow morning, by the way, and rightly so, And spare a thought, the one thing that's been left out of all of that discussion, by the way, I blame. Oh God, yeah, that's fair, Daniel. That's fair. You could blame them for a lot of society's problems of late, actually. That's a good move. That's a good bit of driving. Josh Fitt through on the inside of Travis Azzopardi and moving up into 7th spot. Bannock's gone through to 6th. Bond is up into 5th. Now, the reason for all of that is Wade Cheaty's gone to pit lane. So too has Blake Fitz. So too has Chris Thompson. So too has Dale Sharp. Martin Lipsky has been there for 5.5 minutes. Oh, no. Blake Fitz has been there for 51 seconds. Stop and hold territory. Bad luck. Everybody else has been in for about 10 seconds, and that's it. But the thing is this, right? The one factor that has been lost in all of the above chatter is that the recent scheduling of the AFLW has given that competition a men's clear weekend at the start of their season, like round 3, in which to have no competition. So they've had the Victorian audience. Okay, yes, you've had state leagues, VFL, WAFL, SANFL, etc., but you've had no men's AFL. So it's a traffic-free weekend for the AFLW in which to get eyeballs on their game and their product instead of the overlaps that they normally have at that time of the year with men's competition. So to then introduce a wildcard round, you've lost that, possibly in one respect as well. So there are, I guess from the AFL's bottom line standpoint, there's positives, but there's a lot of backlash, and rightly so, with regards to that news. Not least the knock-on flow-on effect it has for the rest of the finals. Anyway, let's go back to car racing. Thanks for getting me off on a tangent there, Snedden. Buchanan, Blacklock and Broad, 1, 2, 3 at the moment. On lap 12, as we say, we envisage getting to about 23 tonight. At the end of the 21st minute of play here. Buchanan and Blacklock barely separable so far. I hate to think this is going to be another one of those races that could well be running lost on pit lane, but I just get the feeling that that's the territory we're heading towards at the moment. Blacklock flirted with having a look at pit lane and then opted out of it. Now has lost ground to Buchanan on the run down the main straight. So let's see how effective the slipstream is from 6/10 away. Can he reel that into a decent enough sort of deficit that he might be able to have a lunge at turn 1? The answer is no. Gets to within 0.4 of a second, then gets hard on the anchors to turn 1, 2, 3. The lower gears doing all the heavy lifting through that section of the circuit. It's tight, it's twisty, it's technical, it's slow. And then Robbie Bradbury to pit lane. Travis has a party, the first one to pit lane out of the top end of town. He did that on lap 11. 16 drivers make it 18, sorry, yet to stop. Barry Kluver also showing yet to stop. Michael Shepherd as well. Lipsky is out with tech issues, we're being told. Thank you. Appreciate that. And Blake Fitz might now also be reaching similar fate. He's been on pit road for 100 seconds. Lee Mack just observing what we have observed as well already there. There wasn't as much of an effect as we might have anticipated. But that's the thing as well, Matt Schmidtke, different cars, different results in that regard. If that was Formula V, you know, you could only imagine how beneficial the slipstream, the draft and the tow effect would be.
Yeah, I imagine you get a big old tow. I looked it up, 1.2 kilometre straight, so there's plenty of track to catch up on, especially in a V if you got 4 cars in front of you.
Yep. Josh Sawtell's also fallen foul of the trip hazards of pit lane. 50-second stop for him as well. So again, we go back to the 1%ers of iRacing, don't we, Matt Schmidtke? And what Nick Fodiatis says all the time is practice your pit entry. Johnny Harris, I agree. Here. Turn 1 next year. Let's get the V's back on the grid. Bloody oath. And Matt, I want you to take that vote from Jono and I and take it back to the committee.
Yeah, I was about to say we've had a couple of people say bring him back, so I'll see what I can do.
You have more power of attorney or or sway with regards to being a judge of fact than I do with that regards to decision making around here. You got more power, so we can only try and influence that the best way we know how, and that is with peer pressure. Banak, Shooter and Barber to pit lane that time through as well. So the pit stop's slowly but surely happening here, but unlike the TransAms, a lot more variance with regards to strategy.
Yep, just not a big long line of them pulling into the pits, a big old centipede of cars.
Exactly. You would have sworn that was a competition caution the way they did that, by the way. It was ridiculous. 2 for 67 through 10 overs for the Brisbane Heat as well, still needing 106 to win, so they're going to have to come home a lot stronger than what they went out. Bring back the up-and-comers racing too. That was so much fun. Well, yes, but on a non-broadcast night, I think for the most part it was. Here's the run. Here's the run for Blacklock, as close as he's been since he lost the lead a few laps ago. He'll definitely get a tow here. Down the main straight we go. Lap 15 underway. We anticipate about 9 to go. Buchanan and Blacklock side by side now. Blacklock under brakes to 1. Got him. Lead change number 4 of the night. Buchanan tried to switch back the over and under. Couldn't get it done. The championship leader finds a way to get back to the top step of the summit before we go to pit stops. I didn't mind that idea either, Johnny. I did see the comment. I just wasn't able to interact or engage with it at the time because of the battle unfolding on screen. A V and Formula Ford multi-class. I don't mind this. I don't mind that. I'm all for it. I wouldn't know where to look though. The V's would have the better battles, but the Formula Fords would be the outright leaders. So I'd be a bit torn. We'd have to get our We'd have to get 2 producers back in the booth, Matt Schmidtke. We'd have to have our 7 Sport Mega Wall up and running.
Would be a good spectacle.
Oh, yeah. Snedden's on the money as well. I'm not a huge fan of race results being determined by pit lane, but it's becoming such a common occurrence these days in what we see in current real world motorsports. So we've just got to grin and bear it, I guess.
What the lap car?
Traffic! Get out of the road! Into pit lane they come.
In.
Oh, jeez. Jeez, they're cutting it fine there. iRacing could well have a field day with that pit entry. You've got to be so careful with where you enter the lane, going across that white line. The leaders are on pit road, and so too is Sammy Cullen. Broad and Bond are going on for another lap. Oh, I reckon Buchanan might be gone. Yep, gone. Game over. It's done. Buchanan's out. He's been stationary for 20 seconds now. That battle is done. Cullen's going to move up. And Buchanan is sitting there feeling helpless. 34, 35 seconds. It is a cruel, cruel game. Fuel saving doesn't come into it. They still had to pit stop one way or another. And unfortunately, Buchanan's out after 50.98 seconds. That is... Oh, wow. Just as we were talking about it, and it sucked the life right out of the contest. There's barely a battle in the top 10 now. Oh, boy. Tyson Broad's the current leader and Craig Bond is second, but they, as well as Josh Fitt, are still yet to stop. 3 different teams in the top 3. That'll still be the case when we get corrected order, I think you'll find. Although now, or actually no, sorry, my apologies. No, it'll be two different teams in the top 3 because Broad will now effectively go second outright with that monster 40-second invoice for Will Buchanan. Oh, how annoyed would you be, Matt Schmidt? How disappointed would you be going around for the rest of the race, just knowing that that's the one that got away? That was his best chance at a race win, his first of the season, and it slipped through the cracks by a couple of 100 mil.
Yeah, I would be absolutely fuming if it was me, and I bet Will is as well. That was just a bit too much on the crossover of the line there. Very unfortunate.
The red mist will have really well and truly descended upon the helmet in the cockpit of Will Buchanan. Gone any chance of factoring in this race. Gone any chance of stopping Sam Blacklock from securing yet another title. I mean, there's only 3 rounds to go, and even with the drop rounds, Blacklock's going to have an extraordinary advantage up his sleeve. Blacklock's worst 2 rounds, believe it or not, 57 and 61 points. So he's going to drop a bunch tonight, but with a lead in excess of, what did we say earlier, 158. So it's 158 points between Blacklock and Buchanan. What did I just mention there? 57 and 61, that's 118. So he's still 40 ahead before we even looked at what Will's dropping tonight. Will's 2 worst rounds are actually going to be the 0 in round 3 because he didn't turn up, and the 41 in week 2. So he's still dropping 41 tonight as well. So the margin is still going to be more than a round in Blacklock's favour. And we've still got 3 rounds to go in which that'll all change again, but there's nothing suggesting anything other than a Sam Blacklock championship to me at the moment, Matt.
Yeah, it's very much looking like that. I'm interested in what happened to Ryan Mueller, because he was very much on pace with Blacklock most of the time, but he hasn't been around the last couple of races, which is why he's dropped so many points.
Correct. Oh, that's a horrible run out for the Brisbane Heat. So that just about ruins their chances of beating the Scorchers tonight. Shocking start to the campaign for the Heat. They're going to be none from 2. Lost to the Renegades the other day in a rain-affected match. There's Darren Shooter in 12th place. Let's have a look at who fell foul of what on pit lane. I mean, Blake Fitzmartin, Lipsky, both out of business. There's Wade Sheedy running wide. The Josh Sortel entry and also the Johnny Bannack entry are in good company there with Will Buchanan, having slipped through the cracks and had a stop and hold on pit lane. And still, Bondi can hear me at the moment. He's still stayed with us in central commentary. He's unmuted. We can have a chat with him in a moment if we like. But he, Tyson Broad and Josh Fitt are going to go to the 3-quarter mark of this race without having stopped. We envisage another 5 laps to go at the line. And Broad's going again. Broad's going to 19. Oh, trouble. Darren Shooter just had nowhere to go there with the car that was already parked in front. So Darren Shooter, he's sitting down there at the moment in position number 12. It's been far from ideal, the run home for him down 3 on where he started. Josh Fitt comes to pit lane and just 2 to go to cleanse the field. How are you finding it, Bondi?
Fun. I'm glad I did it.
Yeah, good. Yeah, good. Exactly. I'm glad you did too. I'm glad you're going well. Hey, Greg Heaney back onto pit road. Blake Fitz still there. So Fitz and Lipsky parked up there, done. We're down to 25 runners, of which Kluver is a lap down, 2 laps down actually, and Shepherd's the better part of 2 laps down as well. But Broad and Bond are yet to stop. Blacklock will inherit the race lead. He's only 15 seconds down the road. In fact, actually, there is Bond. There is Bond in second, going into the left-hander at 4, into the right-hander at 5, and 2 cars behind him. So he's got, I think he's got lap traffic in behind him at the moment, but Blacklock is third and about to clear Bond before Bond even gets to pit lane. So that's that gives you an insight into just how dominant Sammy Blacklock's been tonight, and Will Buchanan had been prior to that pit lane transit. And just to give you some context as to how costly that 40 seconds has been, Will Buchanan, poor Will Buchanan, is 48 seconds behind Sam Blacklock at the moment. And is sitting down. Oh, and he's had another spin as well, so that adds further insult to injury, really. And now he's just cut the corner because why not? The night's already stuffed. Why not add insult to injury? Tyson brought to pit lane. Bondi will go there this time by as well, I would assume, to get to the end of lap 19 and the quick splash and dash for the run to the checkered flag. It's going to give Blacklock an advantage. Oh, hang on. Bondi's going again. Bondi's going for lap 20. Just how long can you run this, please?
I'll be coming in next lap and I'll be taking no tyres on board.
Copy. And how, I was going to say, how worn are the tyres at the moment, please?
Don't know. I think they're pretty bad because I didn't do much of a race setup. I'm running the same camper as it was in Quali with a slight bit less, God. They're not pretty.
He's flying a little bit blind, ladies and gentlemen, as C Bond. So Blacklock, Bond. So Blacklock's got by on the main straight. That was always going to happen. He now leads, and look at the advantage he's got. He's put 12 seconds on Tyson Broad. Now, he had an advantage over Broad going into the pit lane anyway. But to come out with that advantage, even with 4 laps difference between the 2 stops, that's yeah, it's extraordinary, isn't it? It just goes to show you, just gives further insight into just how dominant Blacklock's been this season, and that he's in a different postcode to everybody, not least his own teammate. I mean, Will Buchanan gave him a good fight tonight, but will rue what might have been given that dreaded pit lane entry. I mentioned Tyson Broad. He hasn't really featured in the point standings here so far, but this will vault him up the order a little bit. Good training run for him. There's Buchanan now going to 9th. Pressure. Snudden. Snudden trying to hold tough on the inside. Buchanan will have the inside running for the left-hander as they head through the back section of the circuit now. Buchanan finally gets it done and moves up into 9th. But again, ruined what might have been. Broad slowed down to safe, potentially. And Bondi had no... Well, he he had no reason to get involved in the battle with Tyson Broad, let's be perfectly honest, and Sam Blacklock, because they were on different strategies and they weren't even in the same postcode on the racetrack before the pit lane transit sequence started to play out. Adam Lavis losing the rear end to a left-hander at 5. Haven't heard much from Matt Schmidtke in the last couple of laps. Your observations on all of this?
Oh, well, Sam's just gone and done it again. 10 seconds there in front of everyone, and then Tyson's, he's 10 seconds in front of the next car, so they're just incredible driving from them to be able to pull such a big lead.
See, this is the thing, right? I didn't see a shred of the Real World 1000 earlier in the year. About a month ago, actually. A month ago today. But everyone was ranting and raving on social media about just how much better it is when they're racing in the wet. Here's another example as to why they're saying that, ladies and gentlemen. Have a look at how well they've spread out and how lacking in stimulation this race has really been. It's had its moments, but it's really lacking in any sort of exciting substance towards the back end of proceedings here. 2 3/4 minutes to go, and there is only one number on our leaderboard. Actually 2 now, and Chris Thompson the second of those, Will Buchanan the first, that are yellow. Everything else is white. Yellow and orange highlight a close battle on the racetrack. There are 2 yellow numbers on that entire totem pole. There's also a black and orange mechanical meatball flag there for Barry Kluver. His race is run. He's on pit road. I'm not sure what happened to him, but that's the 3rd retirement of the night. Will be Barry Kluver. Let's have a look at that replay now. Well, this isn't going to be pleasant, is it? On the run down to the stadium section. Oh, no brakes. Goodbye. Either didn't have them or forgot to use them. One or the other. And Kluver's night is done. So that makes it 3 retirements. 1 non-starter, Dylan Walker, and 1 driver a lap, at least a lap down. Yep, nearly 2. And 23 drivers still circulating. This is Andy Barber in 9th place at the moment. Good solid first hit out for Barber. Just having looked down, actually my apologies, 21.86 for Sam Blacklock, so anyone below that. So Dale Sharp, Josh Sawtell, Edward Rollo, Greg Heaney and Tristan Koch are also showing a lap down at this point, ladies and gentlemen. You should see a white flag in the air this time by, and it will be out for Sam Blacklock. Last minute of play, 45 seconds of overtime await us. Blacklock sees white in Mexico. The checkered flag is in sight. He's got a little over 4 kilometres to run. He's well clear of Tyson Broad. The margin's out to 11.6 seconds. Then Sam Cullen's got himself up at a 3rd place. Bondi is 4th in all of this, up 3 spots on where he started. That's a great little run from him, considering, as he said, it was a last-minute decision to jump in, and therefore he didn't really put too much in the way of prep work into it, setup, etc. But he's acquainted himself with the racetrack very nicely, and had an incident-free run, and that's the point. Like, sometimes it pays to play it smart, and you know this, Matt Schmidtke, and Bondi did that nicely there, I thought, and I'm not just saying that because he's in the booth, and we've seen it before in real-world racing. You can go out there and race hard, but there's no point getting involved and potentially ruining your night or somebody else's by getting involved in a battle that you're not actually part of.
Yep, certainly works like that. You're better off just going at your own pace, and if you catch someone, you pass them, and if someone catches you and you don't think you've got the pace on them, just let them go, and then you just kind of end up where you end up, and if you got the pace, you end up with a good result.
We said during the night that the race could potentially be won and lost on pit lane. How right we were, but not for the reasons we envisaged. The man that benefits as a result of all of that is Will Buchanan, and also Barber pick up a slowdown penalty, is the championship leader, who will notch up his 5th win of the season tonight. So he's got that in common with Andrew Dyson from the TransAm series as well. Sam Blacklock dominant in Mexico. And the Mustangs are on top again in the Trophi.AI Supercar Series. What a way to
Bit early
celebrate.
for that, Sam, but all right. He's just trying to
How
make it
about
not
that?
look like an accident, I think.
How about that? That's a celebration if ever I've seen it. And he can now light it up and celebrate. Actually, crank the volume up there, Matt Schmidt. If he's going to celebrate with a donut victory burnout, let's enjoy this as he does it down the long straight that is the main straight here at the home of the Mexican Grand Prix. He's going to let everybody else go, I hope, and then light it up. How good. 11.3 seconds. Brought in for second, also lighting it up in celebration.
Oh, no. Decided
Broad's
not
still
to.
lighting it up on his behalf, though. So let's have a look at that. Sam Cullen in for third. Craig Bond in for fourth. Josh Fitt in for fifth. Then Travis has a party. Robbie Bradbury will be a candidate. Andy Barber winning ninth place there in the end, and Dane Snadden 10th. What do you want the breakdown, ladies and gentlemen? Seven Chevs, 3 Mustangs, but FORD does stand for first on race day. The dev split was won by Travis as a party in the Whiskey Business Racing Chev in 6th place. We got Tyson Broad about to join us. Sam Blacklock, Tyson Broad, and then Sam Cullen, Craig Bond, and Josh Fitt, the top 5. The 6th place in the participant in your call joined has clipping enabled. Copy that. I'm just getting memos at the top of the screen here as I'm doing the broadcast, ladies and gentlemen. Isn't it lovely? I can't read and talk at the same time. I have to, I cannot multitask. I have to focus on whatever's in front of me. Now, let's have a look. Robbie Bradbury was 7th, but 6th in the elite split. Will Buchanan 7th and Dane Stanton 8th. 2 dev split drivers finished in the top 10 outright. They were Travis Azzopardi and Andy Barber. Adam Lavis was a respectable 3rd. The non-classifieds are about to be allocated a slot in either split. Darren Shooter, Ryan Barber and Chris Thompson, the top 3 there. But there it is, what it looks like outright, ladies and gentlemen. 12 positions gained for Adam Lavis, most of anybody on the racetrack. As far as the elite split was concerned, plus 6 for Dane Snadden. Looks as though it's the clubhouse leader. Retirements in the end for Michael Shepherd. Actually, no, sorry. Shep got home a lap down. Retirement for Barry Cleaver, retirement for Blake Fitz and Martin Lipsky. We saw 5 drivers go a lap down, they being Dale Sharp, Josh Sortell, Edward Rollo, Greg Heaney and Tristan Koch. And a 6th one in Michael Shepherd. So, all in all, a pretty spaced out sort of night and a pretty dominant sort of night for our 2 men that have graced us with their presence in the commentary box. They being, of course, Sam Blacklock and Tyson Broad, and also a pretty commanding win. 7 seconds in the end in the, 10 seconds in the end in the open split, the second of the splits, the dev split for Travis Azzopardi, and he slid into the booth as well. I'm sure his teammate Greg Heaney's not too far behind him, actually. Gentlemen, good evening. Sammy, you had to work hard for that one until the pit stop, and by gee, if you get the pit entry wrong, geez, it absolutely crucifies you. And Will Buchanan, that's one that went very much begging for him. He was right in the hunt there to try and secure and score his first win of the campaign. His misfortune is very much welcome news for you in the sense of the championship, mate, because if you didn't already have one hand on it, you certainly do now.
Yeah, look, firstly, I'm absolutely gutted for Will. He drove amazing tonight. There's no doubt about that. And, you know, it's a mistake we've all made. I think every one of us has made that mistake more than a few times. So, yeah, it's just a shame that I guess the battle ended that way. But, you know, until that point, it's just awesome. You know, trying to show the nose, get a move done, but, you know, it was never really close enough. And, you know, I was playing the psychological game of sort of, you know, having a half look and then moving back in. And look, I was really enjoying it till that point. And as much as, you know, I really wanted the win, I was absolutely devastated when I saw that he hadn't come out of the pits behind me, because I was really looking forward to continuing that on.
Indeed, mate, and likewise, we were disappointed because it meant that that battle reached a very anticlimactic and premature conclusion, and we were captivated by it. We were absolutely engaged in what you guys were offering up in the way of a spectacle because it was top shelf. Let me ask you this, right? Second would have been good enough in all of that. Let's not make any qualms about that. But it is your 5th win of the season. You've got a commanding lead in the series. Even if the drop rounds come in tonight, you're still in front, and it's daylight second. Prior to the round, it was daylight second and daylight third, but daylight drops 2 rounds as well, so it'll slip back in the order a little bit too. So let's be perfectly honest. Overtaking wasn't straightforward an equation tonight. We were a little bit surprised, right, just how close to the rear of the car in front you had to be in order to be in the vicinity of being able to execute an overtaking manoeuvre cleanly and comfortably.
Yeah, exactly. You know, the whole thing is, you know, there's such a long front straight here, right? And you think it's going to be easy, but that RER car that I was stuck behind for a while there was just insane down the straights. Our car definitely had a bit more drag for whatever reason. So even like just a normal run, you know, he was able to get quite close to me from about 7/10 back. Whereas if I was 7/10 back, I'd probably only gain half of what he would. So that was quite interesting, and it meant I had to get a little bit creative, try and set up the run to be close onto the straight. Even then, it was still very difficult. And when I did make that bomb eventually into turn 1, that was only because I think he had a bit of a slower exit. And yeah, awesome kind of battle in terms of very different cars, very strong in different areas of the track, you know. I had a lot of pace through the S's in the stadium section, but Will was quick basically everywhere else. So yeah, it's just, I love it when it's like that, and you've got to sort of think on the fly to what you do to make a move.
11 seconds, quite an extraordinary margin in the end, and to see one of your own teammates, and he's with us in the booth to have a chat as well, Tyson Broad. Well, it's great to see that the team's knocked off a 1-2, mate, tick that box, but to see such a gap between you and him, that was the astonishing factor as far as I was concerned. I couldn't quite wrap my head around that. It's not often that we see you guys that far apart.
Yeah, exactly. Tyson had a few little errors, I guess, in the early part of the race, just grabbing a few slowdowns. Super easy to do at this track, and there was a couple times I thought I'd grabbed one and just scraped away without it. So, yeah, that was a bit of a shame, and I think really when you look at it, that probably contributes to the 11 seconds or roundabouts. So, look, it's still good to grab a 1-2. And obviously awesome to see Sam Cullen back on the podium. Obviously was really quick last week, and yeah, good to see him keeping up form.
Yeah, and at the expense of Will, who was probably likely going to be third or second in any instance, had it not been for the 40-second stop and hold, at least the team was still able to secure a podium in his demise. As far as the circuit's concerned, mate, it's one of the newest ones on the server. How have you enjoyed getting to familiarise yourself with it, getting acquainted with it? I mean, it's great to see another Formula One track on the server, but again, it comes with some of the challenges that you've already highlighted. And again, like every other circuit on the iRacing server, it's not going to be to everyone's liking.
Yeah, look, Algarve, for example, really didn't enjoy that in this car. I mean, it wasn't horrible, but it, yeah, definitely wasn't a good combo in my eyes. That obviously, I could think that and someone else could love it, and that's just the way it is. So coming to this track, I was expecting a bit the same as Algarve, with a bit of, you know, Formula One style, you know, some sort of big 3D curbs and stuff. I was thinking it was actually going to be a bit of a, I guess, a bit of a slow night, if I may say. But I was pleasantly surprised. I jumped on, missed the first bit of practice, and jumped on, did a couple of laps, and the more laps I did, I was getting more comfortable. But then I was sort of thinking, this is actually quite enjoyable in this car. And I drove this track in the GTs earlier this season, and I wasn't really a fan of it in the GTs, and I figured that would mean I would hate it in these as well. But no, complete opposite. I really enjoyed it.
It's funny how your opinion can change based on the car you're driving, but it comes back to the point that I've made in relation to some of the racetracks that we go and have championship rounds on across the board, mate. Not every circuit is suited to every car, and not every car is suited to every circuit. And you can base that based on a couple of things. One is, you know, the driver feedback that you get, but also the quality, the product of racing that we see as well. There was nothing necessarily terribly entertaining about that race in the second half once Will Buchanan got his 40-second slowdown. But some racetracks offer up better racing purely based on the car that's racing on it.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, it's like, you know, I think Greg's still doing the calendar for this series at the moment. And, you know, what I do like is, yes, we go to some, you know, I guess staples for this car. But I liked last season where Greg threw a couple of odd tracks in there that, you know, these cars never really get raced at, and they ended up producing some really good racing. So although they might not be enjoyable to hot lap around, we definitely had some good battling. And yeah, I think it's maybe not as good this season, but still, you know, I enjoy the challenge of going to tracks that we don't normally drive these cars on, and just trying to get the most out of it. And, you know, when it provides good racing and everyone's quite close, then it's even better.
Snetterton 200, Imola and Phillip Island still to come, mate. 6 races, 3 rounds. Sprint racing next week, super sprint in week 10, a single 40-minute outing like tonight in between. How early can you wrap it up, and what's the plan of attack once you do wrap it up? Do you come out and just apply icing to the cake, or do you give yourself a little bit of time to kick back and relax and just enjoy the spectacle for a change?
Look, I'm not sure. Obviously, going to Snetterton, again, I don't even think I've driven the Gen 2 car there. Maybe I have, I can't remember. So that'll be interesting. Might have to call my old buddy Bo Albert for a bit of help with that one, because we used to race that a fair bit on a couple of other video games. But yeah, look, we'll see how we go. I'm meant to be heading down to Adelaide, which I think means I'm going down early, so I think I will miss the last round. However, depending on what happens, I may still race on one of my teammates' sims down in either Melbourne or Adelaide, wherever I am, and we'll go from there. But look, if not, maybe we'll kick back and have a few cold ones, and yeah, just I guess enjoy what has been a massive year.
Well, I guess it works in your favour that you've got such a lead to play with, and you've got 2 drop rounds that you can genuinely fall back on, in terms of it's not going to impact the points race too much if you take a drop round at the expense of not being on the grid for a round later in the season. That's the beauty of this championship, mate. I mean, if you can come in and tick the boxes as you have done throughout the course of the entire 7 weeks so far. I mean, I'm looking at the run sheet here. You haven't finished off the podium yet. It does give you that leverage if you need to, for whatever reason, to take the last couple of weeks off, put the feet up, relax, and know that the job is done and should be able to be upheld. But with regards to Adelaide, I was going to say, how long are you planning that road trip to be? Because by my maths and the calendar that I've got in front of me, the Supercar event is the last weekend of November, which is between weeks 9 and 10 for us. So you've got round 9 the Wednesday before. So obviously, if you're already down there, you miss week 9. And then are you planning a detour on the way home and therefore missing week 10?
That is a great question, and I will have to work that out. I haven't thought too much about it yet. So yeah, maybe I miss one round. whether it's before or after. I think the plan was I was going down there on, I think I was going down to Melbourne on the Tuesday, road tripping to Adelaide on I don't know what day, and then road tripping back. I don't know. Ask Tom Wilkinson. He's the one that's I think planned it all. So we'll work it out. But look, I'll be here for every race that I can be.
That's a good point. Where the bloody hell has he been of late? He's gone into silent assassin, Secret Service type mode. We've not heard from him in the comment section for weeks. But while you think about that and work out your coordinates and bearings and everything else, we might bring your teammate in for a chat here. Do stay with me, mate. I'll come back to you. Tyson Broad, good evening. Blinder of a start. Unfortunately, all undone before the end of the opening lap. Those slowdowns are a killer.
Yeah, definitely. As for our team boss, Tom Wilkinson, he's been off busy playing Battlefield, so you can blame...
yeah, that's right. That's been the side hustle to iRacing for you lot, hasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely has been.
And a fair sidestep at that as well. Continue on.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, great start. Just unfortunate, got caught on the curb in the S's, and that sort of put me wide. And yeah, the slowdowns seem to be a bit overkill around here, so yeah, it's a bit unfortunate. But yeah, as for the outright pace, it seemed to be pretty similar to Sam and Will, so I can take that. So yeah.
Actually, can we just highlight? Firstly, teething issues with new circuits, right? So maybe when iRacing comes in and does patch updates, maybe they'll address the slowdowns and off tracks and other things on this circuit based on driver feedback, based on what they've seen so far. We know they do that with other venues. We've seen it with Spa and others throughout the course of time. We've been here 5.5 years doing this. We know that it's part of the narrative and just the whole setup, really. Secondly, can we also acknowledge, Matt Schmidt can verify this, the circuit map, right, was made available through SDK timing tonight on our screen. We saw it before the race got going, and Barney was in the right spot. Why the bloody hell did he get there first and the map get there on the screen first for Mexico, and they're still working on it for the Bend? I'm not sure what's going on there. Anyway, let's go back to you, Tyson. At what point did you realise that it was going to be a race for third, which essentially became default second once, of course, we saw Will Buchanan stopped and held for 40 seconds on pit lane just for getting the pit entry wrong?
Probably about after my second slowdown, that was probably it. Just, yeah, realising that, you know, them two could tow each other along and build a bit of a gap, and then, yeah, just sort of snowballed from there. Yeah, it was just a matter of staying in the tow, which I couldn't do.
What about this season? I mean, obviously, we've only seen you sporadically throughout the campaign, mate. 3 drop rounds already every second week you've been on the grid. I know there's reasons for that. But what about the season your teammates putting together? By gee, that's racking up some really strong consistency, isn't it? Every single race, a podium finish, even with a 10-second penalty last week at Long Beach.
Yeah, definitely. Sam's always been pretty good in the Supercar. Yeah, he's probably going to miss 2 of the last 3, or maybe 3 of all 3. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see on what his availability is. But even then, I don't really see how many others can catch him, given the gap that he's built up. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that one.
As for your own race, what are your impressions of how much are you enjoying, firstly, being able to throw caution to the wind here because you are appearing sporadically on the grid? And secondly, what do you make of this car and this circuit based on what Sam was saying, comparing it to GT3 and then finding out that it's actually a more enjoyable track in this car?
Yeah, it definitely was interesting. Sort of like Sam, expecting this one to be a bit of a terrible combination, but it actually surprised us, given that it wasn't as bad as what we feared. And yeah, I think maybe the layout of this circuit was probably not the best. Maybe the NASCAR one, which cut out about 3 turns, would maybe been a little bit better. but it is what it is, and maybe I suppose for next time we run the supercars here, we could try that layout instead.
All right, very nicely done. Now, talk to me with regards to when we'll next see you on the grid. I mean, I dare say I get the feeling that it's an Orbit drop bear pilgrimage to Adelaide at the end of the term. So what does that mean for your racing schedule between now and Christmas, please?
I'm actually not going to Adelaide. Instead,
You're
I'm
not missing anything, good boy.
I'm actually going to the Gold Coast instead. In that
you
time.
poor bloke. Well,
Yeah,
just remember whenever you start the trip, just remember to start winding your clock back then, okay?
Well, actually, I'll be winding mine forward. I'll be winding mine forward.
Hang on, whereabouts in the world are you?
WA.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Well, actually, no. Over there, the time difference makes a lot more sense, mate. So you'll still go forward 2.5 hours, but the 112-year difference remains valid when you're up here. But I'm sure you'll enjoy the Goldie. It's a nice tourist spot, although busy time of the year with schoolies and other things. But I'm sure you'll be working your way around all of that. Hey, talk to me about what that means though for the racing schedule.
Yeah, well, I fly back to work tomorrow, so fortunately that's going to take me out for a bit, and then from there it's just going to be doing laps for a V8 Pro around Bathurst for me. So yeah, that probably means I'm just going to focus on doing that as opposed to racing in the gents. And then yeah, after the V8 Pro 1000, it's off to the Gold Coast for about a week and a half, which means I'll be racing the finale of that on Mr. Blacklock's setup.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. Of course, that is, the Wednesday after. Actually, that's a good point. That's a good point. The grand finale of our series, I think, runs up against that one, December 3. Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that. Have they announced the venue for that one yet?
Don't know. Have to ask them.
No, because when the initial calendar at the start of the year came out, I did realise that it was subject to confirmation the final round. Let's see what we can find out here as we go, boys. The other point as well, mate, GT Pro and V8 Pro same weekend. That's going to make for a busy weekend for the stable, isn't it?
Yeah, fortunately I won't be racing that. Instead I'll actually be taking over the mic from you for a change.
Yes. You're deputising here while I'm over there for Bathurst. So yeah. The reason why you're not on the grid for GT Pro, because I did notice a bit of a drop off from the Orbit drop bear stable last time out.
Yeah, it's mainly just for me to focus on the V8 stuff, as opposed to compromising that with doing GT as well. So yeah, the Mars car will have Lockhart and Dan in the car for their finale there, and then yeah, I'll be on the mic Friday night. I'm getting ready for the race on Sunday.
And by the way, bring the Strepsils that night, mate. Texas and the Indian XTs, after what we saw from them Worldwide Technology Raceway, you're in for an absolute bloody treat, let me be perfectly honest. I appreciate you deputising for me in advance. Many hands make light work. Banksy's deputised for me, Heaney's deputised for me, you've deputised for me throughout the course of the season. When we've, well, to be fair, I originally was only going to do Monday and Thursday night this year, and then the boys offered me Friday as well, and I said, look, as long as we can work around real-world commitments, which we've been able to do, I'll happily jump in where I'm clear, and I've been able to do that. Loved working with the Indian XTs and Joe Baldwin, and appreciate you jumping in a couple of weeks' time. Good luck between now and then, mate. I'm sure we'll be touching base. Looking forward to what's coming up, a big schedule to round out what's been a very, very busy year. I know the week and a half break on the Gold Coast will serve you well, and you must be looking forward to Christmas and the New Year and a bit of downtime from the sim as well.
Yeah, definitely. Unfortunately, no downtime from work. Although actually, maybe a little, seeing as I don't have any shifts scheduled at the minute, so yeah.
All right, mate. Hey, get out of here, go and enjoy the rest of the night. Before I do let you go, is there anything you or your teammate, Mr. Blacklock, would like to thank, aside from the obvious?
Yeah, just the boys back at Orbit Drop Bear for ongoing support, and our sponsors in iLiveries and Revolution Race Gear.
Sammy?
Obviously echoing what Tyson said. And yeah, obviously big shout out to Tom Wilkinson. Obviously wasn't here tonight. He's busy arranging all his Lego into coloured bins.
No.
But yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'm not even touching that with a barge pole. Is there anyone else there?
Yeah, obviously just a big shout out to Will Buchanan. Obviously awesome racing, and it was a shame to see what happened. And yeah, just big thanks to you guys for putting the broadcast on. And yeah, obviously the team for, well, at least one teammate rocking up, which is more than I've had the last few weeks. So really happy with that.
Sorry, boys, I was lubricating the tonsils there with some lime cordial. I got tripped up by how quickly he finished the sentence. Brilliant drive-by on Mr. Wilkinson. Although I can't laugh. I used to have the Duplo. I used to have it in the 4 different colours as well, the yellow, the blue, the red, the green. I think at this time of the year I labelled them Australia, West Indies, Pakistan and Sri Lanka, but that's another story. Hey, go and get out of here, boys. Enjoy the night. Enjoy the rest of the week. Enjoy your side hustle that is not sim racing, as was mentioned earlier on. I'm looking forward to hearing more about that as the season goes on. Maybe Tice will be able to give some intel to Joe Baldwin and all our audiences to what that's all about if they want to get involved, just to have a side hustle, something to keep their brain going whilst the rest of us go and enjoy a summer break. Thanks for your time as always. Well done.
Thanks, Zach.
Thanks, Zach.
Never a dull moment with Orbit drop there in the stable, is it? In the booth having a chat with us. Bondi's still here. I'll get back to him in a moment. Trevor Party, good evening to you, mate. Well done on the win in the dev split, mate. Nicely done. And a top 10 outright as well. A solid night out for the Whiskey Business entry.
Yeah, hello. It's my first ever, so I'm super excited. To be honest, I got extremely lucky. I gained something like 8 or 7 positions with my early pit stop, but I think the same thing happened to car 037, Mr. Banak. He was miles and miles ahead, and then he was miles and miles behind. I think he got a 40-second stop as well.
He did, mate, and that was what resulted in him coming home in 14th outright, which was 4th in class. Again, not yet knowing where Darren Shooter and Ryan Barber are being allocated with regards to their dev or elite split as well, so that could change. But yeah, you were right. And the other one, let me have a look down, was Josh Sortel down in 20th position as well. So there were 3 of them. They say it happens in 3s.
Absolutely, yeah.
From your standpoint though, mate, a great night, a good result, a 6.5 second victory. Johnny Banak just verifying, actually. He said that pit entry is a joke.
Yeah.
So, of course he's going to say that because he got tripped up by it. But I tell you what, I bet you it doesn't happen again now. It's a tough pill to swallow, but it teaches a valuable lesson. He'll be very mindful of it next time by. But it's one of those iRacing 101s, isn't it? And Matt Schmidtke and I were talking about it during the call. And Nick Fodiatis prides himself on it. He says to everyone, when they're learning either a new circuit or jumping in the server or whatever the case may be, learning a new car, practice your pit entries. It pays dividends in the end, because otherwise, as you find out, the invoice you cop for mucking it up, it's the difference between being a contender and not.
100%. I actually got a black flag in practice. That's how, and I was like, yep, no worries. I'm going to just crawl into that pit lane in the actual race.
Yep, exactly right. And that's the thing. Now the 1%ers, and in the end, you did that. If you don't, well, yeah, I agree that it's probably a bit overkill, and it's probably a bit too harsh, but everyone's in the same boat. If you know where those lines of adhesion are, and you know everyone's in the same boat in terms of, you know, the rules are the same across the board, everyone's going to get the same invoice if they stray left or right of the line, then, you know, there should be no real sort of protest or animosity towards that. personal internal frustration for the individual drivers, but again, that's something that's, you know, part of the rule book that our internal manual race control cannot override, cannot change. It's
Exactly,
an
yep.
iRacing thing. So we've just got to work within those parameters. To talk about your race though, mate, obviously with Johnny slipping down, that ended up being a bit of a lonely sort of run to the line for you. Talk me through what you made of the 40 minutes. Is it more difficult to keep yourself focused when you're not in a positional battle, when it's just lap after lap, wash, rinse, repeat? It's like an elongated, you know, testing or practice run?
No, absolutely. The last season, I was actually up in Elite, and I always had that issue where whenever I get by myself, I just lose it. I just would lose my train of thought, where this season I'm spending a lot more time in my practice, where I'm just slowly building my braking points up and my pace up, and then to the point where it just feels like second nature. You know, it is kind of, it does feel long. That second stint did feel quite long, but that was just because I had nothing around me. You know, I had no one to look at and no one behind me to entertain me. But it was a good race. I really do enjoy this track and this layout personally. The last time I raced here was in the GT3s at the start of the season, and wasn't a huge fan in the GT3s, but I think in these cars where you can slide a little bit and ride those curbs, and I really had a lot of fun, I must say.
And it looked like it as well, mate. A fan of the circuit or not?
So far, yes. I've only raced here in GT4s, the Supercars and the GT3s, but I must say I like the flowness, if that sort of makes sense. You can really start to build up like a flow state between, especially turn, 8 to 12 is just right, left, and you're just floating through those curbs, especially in the Supercars.
Indeed, mate. Hey, talk to me about what you're most looking forward to with regards to the rest of the season, as far as not just the GT4s, but the Porsches, the GT3s, the Supercars. What are you most looking forward to finishing the season and the year with Whiskey Business?
So this season, I'm really focusing on Supercars. I'm trying to aim for a second trophy in a row. Coming into the RC role, this season as well has taken up quite a lot of my time, I must say. I'm working on, a lot of things behind the scenes. So it's really only the Supercars that are getting my attention between, working and trying to help build up the RC. So that in the new season, we've got a fresh start and a good foot set down, so that, I'll be able to do a bit more racing as well. I'm really looking forward to competing full-time in the P Cup as well. That's been one of my passions. So at the moment, I'm just grinding out Supercars and trying to help in the background as much as I can these last few weeks, and then over the Christmas break doing a lot of behind-the-scenes structuring. But no, for me personally, just the V8s, and hopefully can bring Greg a second trophy.
Hopefully so, mate. And I know he'll be hoping that he's in the battle pack there for a podium finish in this series as well. In fact, I'm waiting for Adam Lavis to finish updating the points so that I can hopefully give you guys an update before we get out of here tonight. But I might have to wait a couple of moments for that to happen. I'll keep you posted, but it looks as though you're going to be firmly in the mix as far as that fight for the podium is concerned. It bodes well, but how important does that make it to go out there and nail the last 3 weeks? And how do you feel about the Snetterton 200 course, then Imola, and then, of course, the Triple Treat Grand Finale at Phillip Island?
Well, I'm actually in the same boat as a few of the Drop Air boys. That last round, I'm not here. I'm going to be riding a very blue R6 around Brisbane Speedway. So my two drop rounds are going to be the round 1 and round 10. So for me personally, I've really got to get some time into Snetterton. It's not really a strong track for me. Neither is Imola. So this next 2 weeks, I'm just going to be dedicating hours every week and just trying to get myself in a good position where if I can try and get a podium next week and the week after, that would hopefully give me a good chance at getting a shiny trophy, I would say.
All right, mate. Very nicely done. You mentioned the focus of the Supercars. Is the intention to stick with that going into 2006, or go and ply your trade elsewhere and try and improve your skill set in another race category?
No, absolutely. The supercars I really do enjoy. I'm a huge, well, like all of us, we all love watching Gen3. So, I grew up watching supercars, and for me, it's a really nice, iteration of my week. I love my Wednesday nights, but moving forward into 26, I want to do three series, preferably even. I'm trying to throw my hat into the ring of running a series as well. So, talking to Greg and a few other of the community members, trying to maybe do a series of my own that I can compete into. But I will, I'm currently a race control for the V8SC League, and I'll be stepping away from that next season. So I would love to get 3 races in a week and help the RC boys as much as I possibly can.
And as our RC coordinator, as I can tell by your Discord handle there, you'd be bloody happy with how tonight's played out. Next to nothing in the way of incidents or investigations. It's a very quiet, lonely sort of night for race control.
Absolutely, that's exactly what you want. And I'm at the point in these next few weeks where I'm actually personally reviewing all calls and all incidents, so that if there are people that might make a little mistake here and there, that we can iron it out before the new season. So far the boys are doing a really good job. We're all human, we do make mistakes, but I'm trying my absolute best to make sure that the broadcast looks good and make sure that the judgment calls are right, so that we can all come here and do what we love doing, which is racing.
All right, mate. Hey, very nicely done. We love the work that you put in behind the scenes, and we enjoy watching out there on track as well. Nice to see you in the thick of it and cemented well inside the top 10. Not only that, also winning the Dev Split, mate. So well done. It bodes well for what's left this season. We hope that the next 2 weeks go extremely well for you, so that you don't have to sweat too much with the drop round in week 10. And hopefully you enjoy the Brisbane Speedway as well. Good luck with that, and thanks for sticking around to have a chat with us.
Appreciate it, Zach. Good on everyone.
From Travis has a party, back to the boy from Gundagai. Is he still awake?
Yeah, I'm awake.
Just. Just. 40 laps. 40 minutes, 23 laps. Pretty good run from you, let's be honest. Clean run, uneventful. You went long. You didn't, as you said on the call here, you didn't worry with regards to changing tyres in the pit stop. You just went in and back out again. Was that the right call to go that long? I mean, the scoreboard says +3. That's a great result. Let's not make any qualms about that. Top 4, it was always going to be hard to get a podium with the company of Sam Cullen and Sam Blacklock and Tyson Broad out there. But it was a solid run. I'm just wondering what the tyre wear was like, and if that justifies the call to not take a fresh set.
What you said, it's about 10 seconds the one same tyres were in the pits, right?
Yeah, about that. Yeah.
Yeah, so mine was about 5.5-ish.
7.35 I've got on my screen here.
Crap. So yeah. If I took tyres, I would have been really disadvantaged in the stop, and I would have been having a battle at the end with Fit. But I reckon taking no tyres kept me in front, gave me that track position, because I reckon it would have been easier to defend if it got to that point than having to try and attack and get back in front.
That's fair. What was the tyre wear like, if you don't mind me asking, buddy? Did you have a look at that?
Left front was, I'm going off the lowest value, was 63.
Okay.
The rear was 64.
Okay.
The right side was like 70 odd.
And just remind me and our audience at home, does that go from 100 and count down, or does that go from 0 and count up in terms of the wear?
100.
100 down. Okay, so next to nothing in terms of wear, really. Let's be perfectly honest, not even half.
Most of the time in iRacing, you can tell the car falls away from anywhere from 85 or lower. And in the Porsche Cup, I've found, for myself at least, it's really sensitive around 90, and anything below that, it just drops. So a lot of that depends on cars.
All right, very nicely done. Now, are you in better spirits than what you were after the TransAm?
Yes and no. But put me more on the yes side.
Good. Good. Hopefully we'll catch up with you at a later point in time. Will we see you on the grid tomorrow night, GT4 and Porsche? Because halfway through tonight, I was starting to think that was probably not going to happen. That was slipping by the wayside. But now that you're in a bit better of a mood, I'm hoping that it might be a different answer.
I'm always going to come do this when I can. Like, why wouldn't I? It's a waste of a night if I don't. But, yeah. I'll try and I will make tomorrow night, hopefully, if I'm allowed to, so, yeah.
All right, very nicely done. Good to catch up with you, mate. I'm running out of time here, so I'll start to look at wrapping things up. And we'll look forward to seeing you back on the grid tomorrow night. I'm just having a look through here. It doesn't look like we're in a position to be able to give you those updated championship points just yet. Adam Laver's still going through and running the numbers, so we'll let him continue to do that. Let me just check in with TransAm here in the meantime. He has updated those, so I can bring you the updated TransAm standings, ladies and gentlemen. Matt Schmidtke's got those on screen there for you now, and have a look at that. Have a look at that. Even with the drop round back a couple of weeks ago, Andrew Dyson is sitting there looking very, very good with a couple of rounds to go. 42 the advantage at the moment. I'm just, I don't have on me at the moment the 2 rounds, like the difference if we didn't have drop rounds applied to the matrix there. But as we said, Dyson was only dropping 15 points, so he's on a maximum of 295 if we don't have the drop round matrix. And Darren Lobb was dropping 55. So if you put 55 on, Lobb would actually be leading by 13, and there would be nothing in it going into the final few weeks. But we have that drop round system in place for a reason, and it's worked wonders over the years. And Daiso's leveraged it and used it to his advantage so far, and he has the buffer, the upper hand going into the final 3 rounds of the season. What a magnificent turnaround in fortune it's been. Especially the last 4 weeks, 4-round wins on the trot for him, and that was his 5th race win in the last 6 races tonight as well. Second for Darren Lobb, 238, and then another 25 back to Jackson Rayhana, who even without being on the grid tonight remains in the top 3. Just ahead of Christopher Henn, then Angus Cook, Adam Funslow, Adam Lavers, Dylan Walker, Richard Brookfield, and Joe Baldwin in the top 10. 112 points covers first and 10th. What was interesting about that match, Mickey, we noted earlier that the Summit Sim Sports stable said, we're not going to bother lining up tonight. We've got our focus, our energy, our sights are set on the Scops stuff. And it's hard, isn't it? Sometimes you've got to sacrifice one thing to give yourself a better opportunity with another. I don't know how these guys do it. It's a constant juggling act for them, going from one car, one championship, sometimes, different clubs, one to another. No 2 cars in the same week are the same. They're very busy, but it just also goes to show how multifaceted they are too.
Yep, it certainly is an art to be able to jump from one car to another and go fast. I wouldn't know. I jump from one car to the other, but I just go slow, so...
You're all right. You go all right on your day. There's no doubt about that. And I'm just glad that you're still running around in GT3 Pro-Am, mate. Someone's got to keep the bloody Lamborghinis GT3 life alive in the virtual world, and you're the man that's doing it at the moment. Hey, we'll have, hopefully, by the time I've run through everything that's coming away on the platforms of the GSRC across Facebook and YouTube, the update on the supercars. I'll let Adam Lavers continue crunching those numbers for now, but let's remind you that we do it with thanks to Disruptive Labs, Waste Options, Trophi.AI, Pantech Industries, Sprite Insider, merch.tgsrci.com, and Flash Graphics. The Scorchers beat the Heat tonight in the Women's Big Bash. That's important to note. The Scorchers got the job done. Of course, they got absolutely demolished on Sunday night themselves at the hands of the Sydney Sixers. So either one of those teams is going to leave with their first win of the season tonight. The Scorchers have done it. They've done it by 23 runs. They bowled the Brisbane Heat out in the 20th over for 149 in response to their 3 for 100. and 72. That's around the grounds for you tonight. On a Wednesday night, great to see the WBBL up and away. A lot of weeknight cricket coming up over the next couple of months, and it means the Heat and the Sydney Thunder are bottom of the table at the moment without a win to show for their efforts through 2 matches. The Sixers, Hurricanes, Stars and Strikers all have a game in hand. The Renegades are 2 from 2 at the top of the points table, the defending champions. So Big Bash cricket continues tomorrow and across the weekend. There's a doubleheader on 7 Sport on Friday. We'll obviously go around the grounds on Friday night in our coverage. And we'll also be able to tell you that there's a doubleheader on Sunday as well on the screens of 7. Merch.tgsrci.com. Our updated merch range is available for purchase. Get amongst it if you can. The bucket hats are there. The new shirts are there. Different colours for the shirts, as Adam Lavis alluded to the other night. Singlets as well. Check it all out. Merch.tgsrci.com. GSRCmerch.myshopify.com. Takes you to the same place. And if you want to get involved in anything we do here on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club across Facebook and YouTube, race.tgsrci.com is where you go for all that relevant information. Been a pleasure to fill in and deputise for Dan Yeaman tonight. That one was a lot easier on the vocal cords than the last time I filled in on a Wednesday night. So let's remind ourselves that I've still got 2 nights to get through yet. We're halfway through what Adam Lavis dubbed as Zach Week this week, the platforms of the GSRC, because I've teamed up with Adam Lavis on Monday night, Matt Schmidt tonight, Dan Carrere, Sarah and I tomorrow night, and then Joe Baldwin Friday night. And then my vocal cords can rest through the weekend. Tomorrow night, this will be a beauty as well. They'll pack the house. Firstly for GT4 from Watkins Glen in upstate New York on the boot layout, the traditional boot layout, so the bus stop and all. 7:45 Eastern Daylight Time, 40 minutes the journey there. We quickly turn it around and then head to Mount Panorama Bathurst. Yes, the Mecca. 6.213 kilometres of mountain magic. The best real estate in the land, maybe in the world. And we'll be tearing around there in the Porsche Cup cars tomorrow night from 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Hope you can join us for that. 60 minutes the journey there, and looking forward to it immensely. That will be the first and only Enduro of their campaign. So a slightly later finish tomorrow night, as we won't be seeing the checkered flag until after 10 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, 7 o'clock on the West Coast, midnight New Zealand. Skip and slide Friday night, Knock Hill, Scotland, 2 sprint races, 7:30 Eastern. We'll endeavour to bring you the results of that in our broadcast, which will start an hour later. 8:45 Eastern Daylight Time is the race start, but we'll be on air slightly before that to bring you all the action from one of the great spectacles in IndyCar racing. The streets of Long Beach, California in the United States on the west coast of America. It's either 65 minutes or 45 laps, whichever comes first. It's street racing, anything can happen. Long Beach, 8:30 for round 7 of the Disruptive Labs Indy NXT Series. We'll also spin the wheel on Friday night to determine where we're going, what we're driving when we go to the mountain again on Saturday night for the regular Mountain Men hit out. That's 32 laps. That is from 8:30 Eastern Daylight Time. Then the checkered flag is starting to get a little bit closer, because we get stuck into round 8 on Monday night, off to the classic boot at Watkins Glen in upstate New York for the latest round. So again, some commonality here, calendar to calendar, with the circuits popping up regularly across the board very soon after they've appeared somewhere else in the schedule. Watkins Glen Monday night, Toyota 86 GR86 Challenge, Waste Options the sponsor, 7:45 Eastern Daylight Time, races 15 and 16 of the championship. Final 60-minute race of the Waste Options GT3 Pro Series follows that from Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal, Canada. So again, some line-up correlation there between TransAm and GT3. We were there for the TransAms only a few hours ago. 8:45 Eastern Daylight Time, we bring you the Pro Split for 60 minutes. Hopefully it's a little bit more stimulating than what we've just witnessed tonight in TransAm. Echo Park Speedway in Atlanta on Tuesday night for the 18-lap race of the GSRC Rallycross. That's 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Then we get stuck into a hit out on the Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course in the in the GSRC Pro 2 trucks, I should say, not the NASCARs. From 9:20 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Wednesday night, TransAm's off to Sandown. 45 minutes the journey there. That's from 7:45 Eastern Daylight Time. That is live in all markets around Australia. And Snetterton 200, the setting for, or the venue for the playground for the Trophi.AI Supercars third last round of the season. And that is the last of the 2 race sprint rounds. with a 3-race super sprint round to follow in week 10. So Snedden 200 next Wednesday night, and Dan Yeaman back alongside Matt Schmidtke. So yes, we're with you Thursday night, Friday night, Monday night, Wednesday night. 4 nights a week, as we have been each and every week pretty much for the entire year here on the platforms of the GSRC across Facebook and YouTube. Final thoughts from you, Matt Schmidtke?
Yeah, good racing, everyone. I think, well, Sam did an impeccable job, just 10-second lead over someone else who's just also excellent in a supercar, though he did say something, I think, 2 slowdowns, which definitely wouldn't have helped. And then Dyson, same thing. The man is just on a mission to win everything, it seems.
Not even, I don't think even Matty Dench has dominated 3 championships within a season the way that Andrew Dyson currently is. I think he might have won 2 in a season once there, Matty Dench, but to do 3, that might be new, uncharted sort of territory for Andrew Dyson. He's only 3 weeks away from wrapping up the 86s, the GT4s, and also the TransAms. You'll see him in action tomorrow night in GT4, and we'll look forward to your company then as well. Sheffield Shield Cricket continues tomorrow, and plenty of other great sport coming up on the way as well. We're in the single digits now as far as our countdown of days to the Ashes are concerned. We can barely wait for that. I echo exactly what Matt Schmidtke said. Well done to Andrew Dyson. That was dominant. Clinical from Sam Blacklock. Well done to Travis Azzopardi as well. 3 worthy winners on a busy Wednesday night on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, live exclusive and free across Facebook and YouTube. Thanks to Boddy for hanging out with us for the duration. Thanks to Matt Schmidtke. Thanks to you at home. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed bringing it to you, and we'll do it all once again, 7:45 Eastern Daylight Time tomorrow night. Until then, go out and enjoy what's left of your Wednesday evening or your Thursday morning across the ditch. And we look forward to your company here, same time, same place tomorrow night. Until then, on behalf of the entire broadcast, commentary and production team here, Matt Schmidtke and our crew, I'm Zach Caban. Until we see you next time, it's bye for now.